Welcome, reading one. Hello, 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 and welcome. Welcome back to those of you who keep coming here, and welcome to those of you who have found us and are here for the first time. I have to tell you that and I mean right before I hit the record button, a fly came into my house, a very large one, and I don't know if it was I've been doing so many readings lately, they kind of roll into each other, but I don't know if it was the last one or the one before. But if spirit calls me to, I'll put it in the description box. But there might be another hidden message for you in one of those readings. I want to say it was the last pick reading, but honestly, I'm in this really cool place right now where it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but sometimes I just know like I need to just put a pin in that and like keep going where I'm going. Also, it's like lunchtime where I live, so it's going to be a little loud. You know, now that the warm weather has rolled in, I love it. But also, like, I have to keep my windows open and my door open, and we live in a very busy area. And, it doesn't matter if I do them in the morning or the afternoon or evening. It's like, it's when you're next to a highway, it's like you never know what's going to happen. Anyway, when I looked down, it was 110. So I feel like 11 is an important number for you. Or maybe you see 1111 a lot. But also, I would be also remiss not to mention that if you are, I don't know how to explain it. Let's see. Spirit, why don't you give me the words, please? Thank you. Oh my gosh, I feel like somebody's writing a letter, and I'm not laughing, like, it just was very dramatic. I felt like I was in a period film, like Pride and Prejudice, like kind of era, that very, old love energy, because it was like I was watching this beautiful man, like with like a jacket and like, the high neck, tie, like the white shirt, you know what I mean? The longer hair, but beautiful, beautiful man. But it's definitely a man. And he is like sitting at a desk and he's saying, with deepest regrets. So I don't know if this is a spirit guide, if this is a past love, if this is you, if this is a current love, only you can decide. These are group readings. But it came in very strongly. So basically what I was trying to say to you is this is a love reading. That's why, as you saw in the title, messages you need to hear from spirit right now. When they're generic like that and spirit sets them up like they did for me, like I was very clear about it. I said, I knew it was going to be a pick reading. I felt that really strongly, but I kept feeling like a love reading. So I was feeling this reading right away. Then when I started preparing the whole reading and I went through 2, 3, and 4, they were all so different. And that's when I was like, okay, this is a generic, like what you need to hear from spirit. So I said, can you give me some songs, some titles to give them like a theme? That's why I call them pick a readings, because they're individual readings. It's not just like pick a card and, oh, that's your message and whatever. And whoever invented that, it's very clever. I'm just saying that in this kind of situation, what I was feeling for you guys for reading one, was very much love. And then the first song that played was I'll Look Around. And I will look back on it, but I want to say it was Billie Holiday. But it was like an old song. So I'm bringing that up because first I saw, technically this was first because, I saw the song first. So this song's probably from like the 30s or 40s or that time, that period, definitely in like the 1900s, like, you know what I'm talking about, like that century, the 20th century. So I feel like for the other one, when they were writing, I felt like it was more like the 19th century, you know what I mean? So there's definitely, or like could be like 18th to 19th century. And I'm saying this because I feel like for some of you, sometimes it's a soulmate and sometimes it's a twin flame, but they're very different. And a soulmate can be your mom. A soulmate can be a lover. It's just somebody who, you've danced with them before in other lifetimes, and you're meant to dance with them again. It just depends on what capacity. I remember, and this may be vulgar for some people, but I think you need to hear this so you can understand. But I remember when I first started going through my past life stuff, I realized that my father, my birth father, and I had been lovers before. And I'm like, that makes so much sense, because in his waking state, my dad would never touch me like that. Like, he would never do that. But now that he's gone, and we've had some really great conversations in dream state, and then like this kind of stuff when I'm, channeling, and I kept seeing us, like, we've been all different things. We were brother and sister. That's why certain people you have relationships with that you can't really understand. So my dad did some things to me that weren't very desirable, but he did them when he was kind of like half asleep drunk. And I don't think, I feel personally, when I look back on it, I don't feel that my dad ever like tried to whatever. I remember even when I went to therapy for it, because I was like really fucked up from it and really confused, because it happened when I was really little, and it usually happened when I was sleeping next to him, and it was usually like in weird times, where no one else was around. My dad was a big partier, so a lot of times he'd wake up I'd wake up because I'd hear him come home and I missed him, so I'd want to go down and hang out with him, and he was like in his drunk, like whatever, like making food, getting ready to like, whatever, before he passed out on the couch. And that kind of that was the norm. My dad slept in the basement on the couch. Sometimes he'd sleep with my mom if they were in a good place, but for the most part he pretty much slept down there. And so, sometimes we'd be hanging out and I'd fall asleep next to him, and I wouldn't realize that anything was happening until he was doing it. Or like, he'd get an erection, but he's not like, it's not about me. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not like he was like, oh, I want to fondle a little girl. That I never felt that. And I remember when I would talk to a therapist and they're like, and they're just doing their job. You know what I mean? Like, they're just doing their job. They're like, that's you, taking on their, and everything they were saying was totally fucking true in terms of like, if you're a therapist, that's all you know. But because of what I do now, because I spoke to my dad in different realms and different places, I know that my dad would never would have intentionally hurt me. 706, I feel like that's an angel number for you. 706. It could be the number 76 as well, or 67 if you mirror them. They're both the number 13, and maybe you were 13 when something happened to you. I feel like there's just like all these things that are coming through, and I had no idea it was going to go in this direction. And it's only because of all the therapy and the work that I've done on myself that I can speak about it without like melting down into a puddle. So, it's not as if this is a slight energy or a slight moment of, what you may have gone through. It's just that, you need to go through it, and you need to work through, the therapy of it. So, and I am not a therapist by any stretch of the imagination, but if you would like to do some past life regression in any way, shape, or form, I would be happy to help you with that. All of my information is in the description box. Just email me. I used to put rates on there, but I do so many different things that it's hard to just like pigeonhole myself to like some rate. Also, I work with sliding scale. So if you're like, I have $30, like, what can you help me with? Then we'll work with $30. Like, don't feel like I'm too expensive or, whatever, because spirit always works it out. Also, on the flip side of that, remember that I'm a telepathic medium. So if you're lying about it, if I get a no from spirit, it's not going to work, And I've had that happen where people, it's kind of funny too, because it wasn't ego so much as like, have you ever seen that movie Taxi? It's one of my favorite movies of all time, with Queen Latifah and Jimmy Fallon. But the part where they get hit with laughing gas and everything goes really slow, and she's like, you're so stupid, and she's like, whatever, like that scene. That's how I feel when people try to pull one over on me. I'm just like, okay. I mean, because even if I don't pick it up, one of my spirit guides is definitely like Archangel Michael is literally, he's here right now with us today and protecting us, but like he is definitely like, I feel a masculine energy from him, but I also feel like a strong feminine. He just feels really balanced to me. But anyway, I digress. But like Michael's always got my back, or one of my spirit guides, one of my trusted spirit guides will, tell me the truth. So just be honest about it. It's also, I say to people, meditate on it, ask spirit, like how much, you want to give in exchange of energy. These kind of things, because they're free, essentially, I always ask for the exchange of energy, at least a prayer, because it's good karma for you and for me. But there's definitely, you know, each person values things different. Oh, when I look down, it was 10:01. So you guys definitely got a lot of 11, like a lot of angel energy. So you either are earth angels, or you're light workers who are constantly surrounded by angels. And so the fly, by the way, is being super polite. So the fly wants you to work with them. The fly spirit animal. Flies are beautiful. They're, you know, it's interesting because the dark shadow of flies is that they're easily manipulated. So if you have somebody who is doing black magic, they could send a fly to spy for them. But just pray for them, because you know what? That's just weakness. That's sadness on their part, that they need to manipulate a poor insect to do their bidding, to do their work, when they can just as easily just tap into it themselves, right? There's so much going on in your reading right now. Reading one, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're like on multiple levels. I feel like there are multiple levels here for you right now that you need to work through and work with. It could even be that you're a light worker yourself, and maybe you're because they're bringing in the Decepticon energy, maybe you're not doing something that's on the up and up. Oh, you're sure. This fly's like, can you let me out? There you go, buddy. Oh my gosh, this is like one of the most polite flies I've ever worked with. And I've worked with flies for years. But also flies can be there for good omens, believe it or not. It's all in the way you look at it, and it's all depends on the spirit medicine that's coming your way. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to work with the fly spirit animal, the fly spirit medicine, whatever languaging you're drawn to. My throat chakra is coming out. Also, it didn't want to come in before, but I feel like this butterfly now wants to come in, maybe because they didn't want you to be fixated on the butterfly. So we're going to pull your card right now. We're working with the Green Witch Oracle deck. Spirit, what is their message today? Okay, number 12. Affection. Okay, so interesting thing with this card for me is that maybe they want the butterfly over here. Right away when I saw the cat, I thought it was throat chakra. Drink some water. Work with your throat chakra. Speak your truth. Also, who the fuck do you think you're hiding from? Like, I'm just being real with you guys. Like, I can't even say, oh, I'm this or I'm that. This is like coming through. This is your higher self, like talking to you, getting real. Because I had like 10 hours of sleep. I woke up at 6:22 this morning and I was like, oh, it's a little early. Maybe I'll go back to sleep. I went back to sleep. I woke up and I was like, it was like hot. And I was like, what time is it? It was 10:40. I'm like, holy shit. Like, clearly my body needed the rest, needed the sleep. And maybe this is a message for you, that you need to let your body just rest and sleep. No alarms, no bullshit, like no interruptions. I feel like somebody is there's something serious going on right now with you guys. But Spirit's got nothing but love and affection for you. And when I saw the mirror and I saw the cat in there, and then I saw the song, I was like, that's so crazy, because I pulled the cards without looking at them. The music came through from Spirit. So it's like, if you chose this, it's like, it says, I'll look around. And then in the quotes from the music was the single version. So to see, it's like, we have one butterfly. I have more butterflies. We have one cat, and the cat, it's interesting because the cat is like in the mirror, and it's a black cat. So maybe, and then we were talking about the fly and dark magic. So I'm going to go into this because I feel like Spirit has some deeper messages for you. Number 12, which is also the number 3. And I must tell you, in real time, it's so interesting because today is the 6th of June. So 6/6/2025, if you add them all together, it would come down to the lowest denominator would be 3. Because it's a 6th day and a 6th month, but 2025 is 9. And it's like, if you add like 9 plus 12, 9, 10, 11, and then 12. Yeah, it's like, so we're looking at your card is 12. So this could even be a significant time for you. Also, I just noticed the little Taurus there. So you could be a Taurus. Maybe you're dealing with a Taurus. Let's get into this and see what the book says. So this is Sorrel, Rumex I'm not going to try and say that Latin. I'm not going to try and butcher it. But when I saw this, I thought it was spinach. I didn't even notice the sorrel until I was like, oh yeah. So I'm reading everything from the book that they asked me to. So there is, oh, they want to read that last. Okay, cool. Oh, I love when they do stuff like that. Okay. So the oracle meaning is new experiences are coming your way, which means you will feel prompted to find new ways of doing things. If you are seeking a solution, be more receptive to suggestions and openings. Ensure you are putting your true feelings into all that you are doing. A valuable proposition should come your way, but don't get too carried away. The cultivation of this card is, this perennial herb, sorrel, can be grown in garden beds or just as easily in containers. Plant in spring after the last frosts and divide established plants in autumn. Although hardy for best results, position sorrel to full sun to part shade in a rich acid soil. Sorrel can be harvested by picking leaves as required. Remove flowers as they appear to ensure the leaves do not become too bitter. So this could be for someone who actually wants to grow sorrel, you know, like the leafy vegetable, like this leafy edible food. But I also think like the underlying messages are really interesting. So I feel like for some of you, this could be a timeline. Like, hear me out. This perennial herb. So annual is something that only lasts a year, right? If you plant it, you're only going to get 1 year out of it. It's not going to come back. You're going to have to plant it again. A perennial is something that you plant, and as long as you keep taking care of it, it'll keep coming back. It'll keep harvesting. So I think it's interesting that it says this perennial herb can be grown in garden beds or just as easily in containers. So I saw like maybe you're somebody who needs to move to the country. Maybe you do better like in that kind of environment, or containers. I was looking at like apartments, like maybe you do better like in a city or in like a town somewhere where like maybe you live above the job you work at. You're somebody who you don't want a car. You like living in town. Maybe it's not a big city. Maybe it is, but whatever works for you. But that came up. So I feel like I wanted to speak about that. And then it says plant in spring after the last frost. So it could be something with spring. And then it says, and divide established plants in autumn. So because this came up as the only love reading, again, I would be remiss not to mention that it says, I'll look around the single version. So it could be that for some of you, it's time to be single. Maybe for some of you, it's time for a separation to see if you really want to be with this person and say, you know what, let's break up and let's check in the fall. No contact, no messages, no nothing. If they're very serious about changing, if they're very serious, this is very beautiful and it's coming through very strongly. And if they're very serious about it, then they will take the time to work on themselves. No contact. See what they can do without you around, because some of you, you know, it's not healthy to continually take care of somebody, especially somebody who's not taking care of themselves. And you can have affection for them all day long, but when they look in the mirror, if all they see is the shadow, and also for some of you, I see a black cat. I mean, it's very like on the nose. So some of you, this, you know, you could be a Taurus, like I said, you may have a black cat. Maybe you want a black cat. Maybe some of you have been thinking about getting an animal, or, you know, this is a telltale. I'm going to tell you two things one that I learned on my own and one that was told to me. The one thing I learned was if you get together with somebody and they are allergic to your animal or they don't like your animal, they're not the person for you. That's bottom line. If you have a cat and someone's allergic to your cat, the cat stays. Sorry, the cat stays. Now, if it's something where, I mean, I'm sure there's like some situation where the person is right and the cat needs to be rehomed and, you know, I'm sure. But for your situation, I'm feeling like, no, I kind of feel like this is very, Okay, then the second one was I remember when my first husband and I were trying to work things out, and his mother came to visit. And over the years, she and I, we did not get along. It was a rough road from the fucking get-go. She did not like me. She did not want me with him. She did not think I was good enough for him. They were very affluent, very wealthy, and spoke many languages, very educated. And I was just this, to her, some simpleton from the south side of Chicago, just blue collar family, you name it. You know what I mean? Like, I was the very wrong person from the get-go. 2033, also another angel number. Could be ages too. And also when you add it together, it comes to number 8. So I just wanted to bring that out there. Okay. But after many years, almost a decade of knowing this woman, and when you're young, you let a lot of shit go because you're like, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. So I was in my 20s. But at the end, when we were breaking up, I was in my early 30s, and I'd kind of finally had enough of her fucking shit. And it wasn't until I had had enough of her shit and I fucking put her in her place that she was like, finally, I've been like waiting for her. She's like, I hear all these stories about who you are. And, she's like, but when you're with me, you're so meek and you're, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, all I ever wanted was for you to stand up to me. And I was like, well, you know what? That's not my job to stand up to you. And I'm like, and how sad is it for you to like, and we ended up having this like really cool discussion. My friend came over to visit, and I said, we're going to go do our own thing. And she's like, well, what are you guys going to do? And I said, I don't think you want to come with us. I'm like, you don't like to drink or party or anything. And I'm like, I need to party, because she lived in Europe. And when she'd come to visit, she'd stay for like weeks on end. So long story short, she's like, no, I want to hang out with you guys. And we're like, okay. So we ended up like smoking weed, drinking. And anyway, long story short, she ended up being really fucking cool. And I'm like, why weren't you like this when you were my mother-in-law? You know what I mean? I'm like, oh my God. But I think because she knew deep down that we weren't right for each other, and it was above and beyond like our class system and all that. It was more like she just knew that I deserved better than him in a lot of ways, and that I was more of a go-getter, and that I was kind of like falling into his shadow. And so when I said to her, we're really going to work through this. I really have faith in us this time. And she's like, I'm not saying you won't. She's like, but there are certain things that you have said that make me kind of wonder. And I said, well, what do you mean? And she said, well, you said one time that his breath is always bad to you. And I'm going to tell you guys, this may click for one person, because I feel like somebody needed this story. And I was like, what? And I said, no. I go, we both eat a lot of garlic, and we both, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, we brush our teeth. She's like, oh, I know. She's like, I'm just saying, like, they've done studies that when you're not with the right person, like chemistry wise, like literally like physical chemistry, that the person will smell off to you, or their breath will, she's like, because when you have a chemistry with someone, you don't smell that stuff. It's just all natural. Like, yeah, you'll smell someone has garlic breath, but she's like, do you know what I mean? And it wasn't until after he and I broke up that I would date. I spent like years like dating and having sex with like all these different like people. And there were 2 people since my husband that I knew exactly what she meant. Like, it didn't matter if they, smoked cigarettes and drank and ate or whatever. I'd still want to like smooch them, and I wouldn't care. And then, I started to think about what she said, and my partner, like now, it's the same thing. Like, he never like really smells to me, but if he does, he smells good to me. And his breath never smells bad to me. You know what I mean? It smells good to me unless like, he didn't brush his teeth or something like that. But even then it's like, I'd still kiss him. Do you know what I mean? Where I remember my ex, my first, like, her son, I would be like, go brush your teeth. There were times he's like, I brushed my teeth like 3 times. I don't know what you're smelling or what's going on. And I was like, And I was like, maybe you have a cavity or something. Because I remember Kim Kardashian, I saw this thing once, and she said that her superpower is she can smell cavities on people. And I was like that too. I can still do that. So it makes me wonder if she's empathic. But anyway, I don't want to go so far off the money here. But apparently they had me share these stories with you for a reason. So there must be something that's going on where like you keep lying to yourself about this person. And it could even be yourself. Like say this reading is for you and you are single and you're not with someone, and the I'll look around is like maybe spirit is trying to get you to focus more on yourself and affection and love for yourself. And in the mirror, you know, maybe it's time for you, instead of like pining for a person, maybe it's time for you to get a familiar, you know, an animal. Maybe it's a cat. I don't know. But whenever there's an animal in the cards, especially a deck like this, that I didn't even know there were animals, like in, you know, I don't remember seeing this in there, you know, there's definitely something there. But also with the mirror, maybe this person that you're with was there to help you work through your shadow. Like maybe one part of them was like a fluffy kitty and cute and sassy, but the other side of them was like really dark. And I feel like Spirit's saying, well, like you did your job, they did their job, and now it's time for you to move on. I mean, the butterfly came in for a reason, you know, like it's time to fly away. It's time to like, you know, work on you. So I just think it's really interesting, the cultivation, because it's talking about like how to cultivate this plant. But I feel like the whole like hidden meanings and metaphors for you are about cultivating your relationship with yourself so that you can be a better partner for somebody else. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you guys are meant to break up like forever. Maybe it is just a separation. I'm seeing 3 weeks. So maybe it's even like just saying like, I'm going to go take a sabbatical. You know, there are some jobs, you'd be surprised how many jobs nowadays, if you're like, I need to take some time off, I'm feeling, you know, I'm going through some heavy stuff, you know, there are a lot of, you know, I know the United States administration, people are like, oh, it's horrible, blah, blah. That all is going to correct itself. I mean, and not to like throw flowers at myself, but because it's in real time, those of you who've been with me a long time know, like I've said this for a long time. I'm like, you know, I know everybody was upset about the administration and what happened and that Kamala didn't win. I'm like, but you have to remember something. I'm like, spirit, the beauty and the divine energy of earth is free will, but we are also run by karma, and she's very real and she never forgets an address. So, you know, I said, I'm like, watch them hang themselves. I'm like, because ego, oligarchy, all that kind of stuff, it's going to come back around. So I was like, when one turns on one, the other one will start turning, and then they're all going to start turning on each other, and it's going to be like a house of cards, and it's all going to fall in on each other. You know what I mean? So when I saw like what's been going on with, you know, P. Diddy's trial, and then like what's been going on with, you know, not just America, but like, you know, of course the UK with everything that's going on there and the monarchy, and there's just so many things that are like falling apart, and they're not falling apart, they're falling together. And I said, I'm like, watch it. I'm like, watch when they start turning on each other. And when I saw that Elon Musk posted something about the president of the United States, I had to laugh my ass off, because I'm like, and so it begins. When he said he was leaving, I was like, and so it begins. And he bought X for a reason. He wants to be able to, like, nobody can shut his ass down. Nobody can tell him he can't fucking say what he wants. He has the largest platform in the world to fucking say whatever he wants, whenever he wants. And he's not perfect either, right? So my mom used to say, give people enough rope and they'll hang themselves. So this could even be in your relationship too. You know, if you've got somebody who's got a lot of ego, narcissistic energy, you have to remember that these are energies. They're not people. You're not born a narcissist. It's an energy that maybe you took on from somebody else, but it is not yours. And the whole point of this process right now is the decisiveness of literally self-care, self-reflection, self-introspection, and self-understanding right now. And most of all, love, affection, you know, like what are you doing for you? So let's continue on. Interesting that it says, although hardy, meaning you, like you're a badass, right? For best results, position this plant in full sun or part shade in a rich acidic soil. So this could be for somebody, like when I saw acidic, I felt like a warm climate. Maybe you're somebody who needs to, because I think of like acidic fruits. Acidic fruits have to grow in a warm climate, right? When like when Florida had that like freakish storm, they're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to all of that citrus? And it's like, well, it depends, because, you know, I've worked with a lot of things and growing things, and sometimes when that happens, all it does is it actually kind of like freezes it, but then it'll release the juice and it'll be sweeter. So maybe this is a sign for you to like kind of just, maybe you need to freeze frame for a minute, like kind of freeze your energy and sit back for a minute and look at your life, look at your relationships, you know. And if you're not in a relationship, then this is like, okay, if you want to be in one, you're in the single version, then maybe it's time for you to just focus on you, and the right person will magically appear. I have to say this, you know, because this came up recently with one of our tribe members, but it comes up a lot. So I feel like I need to speak about it. I understand what it's like to be single, and I understand what it's like to be single for a long time and like longing for love. But if you're looking for love in all the wrong places, looking for love, too many faces, something, blah, blah. I don't know all the words, right? But they're like, so they're like, if you keep looking for it, you're not going to find it, you know, especially the right love that you're looking for. You know, I feel like the one before two, like I almost feel like before you can be a partner or be a two, you know, a couple, you first need to work on yourself, loving yourself. What do you love? What do you like? It's important for you to know these things, because when we get in relationships, we forget who we are. We forget like what our purpose is and why we came here and like what we're meant to do. Also, reading two is like next to me and my eyes keep going to it. I haven't even done the reading yet, but I feel like for some of you, you're meant to go to reading two. Again, at this point right now, I literally have not been there yet. I can tell you though, that the title is Dreams. And then in parentheses, and that one for sure I can tell you was Fleetwood Mac. And it was in parentheses, 2004 Remaster. So maybe for some of you, you need to, you know, maybe you were born in 2004. I don't know. That's so freaky to me now to think that you could be born in 2004 and be an adult, because it's 2025. So that's kind of crazy, but you might be, you know. It could be, maybe that was a pivotal year for you. Maybe, you know, I don't know, but it means something, you know, dreams. So what does that mean to you? Okay. But I'm feeling like either way, even if you are in a relationship and you're going to take a sabbatical from your relationship, I'm hearing that it's about focusing on you and your dreams and what do you want. And for some of you, I know you think this is a twin flame relationship. It's not. And I know for some of you, you think you can save this person or change this person. You can't. And that's your ego coming out. I know you think it's love. I've been there too. It's not. I recently had my partner say something to me and I had an aha moment and I was like, oh my gosh. And then I just kind of looked back at them and I'm like, I don't want to change you. I'm like, then tell me how to be a better friend. Tell me how to be a better wife. Like for you, that's not compromising who I am. It's, you know, it's a very fine line. That's why it's hard to find the right person. A butterfly literally just flew by and the fly, the window's open, they can go out. So, and it's a white butterfly. And then my eyes went to the black cat. So you could be dealing with somebody who's really deep in their shadow and they may not get out of that shadow for a long time. And some of them are in the dark night of the soul. And right now on planet Earth, why it feels like a fucking head fuck for a lot of people in the pinball machine theory, you know, people are all over the place, is because it's literally going from like, you know, every person on this planet is going through some form of something, and most people are going through the dark night of the soul of some kind that they don't even recognize or understand that they are. So if they're at the beginning of it, in it, or at the end of it, is going to be different for all of you. But you can't wait around for someone to get their shit together. You have to work on you and keep moving forward. That does not make you a dick to keep moving forward and working on yourself. You know, I've had two people who I love very much in my life who were in relationships that were very, very manipulated. And both of them finally had to walk away because they, like, it was killing them. And both of them, and it's interesting because it was one of my girlfriends and her boyfriend. And it was my partner and his ex-wife. And she was really witchy, the ex-wife, by the way, where like the other couple, they weren't really like into things like we are here. Like obviously if you're here watching readings, but they were still like fun, cool. They had a really great relationship. Everything was awesome. But when they got together, they were partying together, and then the one got sober. There's a movie called Days of Wine and Roses. I actually did the play when I was in high school. But it's a beautiful story about a couple that meet when they're using, but then one of them decides to go straight because they have kids. And it's just like she woke up one day and she was just like, I don't remember the whole story. It's been a long time, but it's with, I want to say Tony Curtis. It's either Tony Curtis or Jack Lemmon. I think it might be Jack Lemmon. Anyway, it's a great movie. It's a great story. It may have even been a book first. Sorry about that. But it's called Days of Wine and Roses. And then finally, she gets sober and she tries to keep him, she doesn't punish him for using, but the whole thing is like they both keep trying to get sober together. And one could and one couldn't. And so finally she had to let him go. And I don't remember the end of the movie, so I'm not going to tell you. But in my situations of people that I knew personally, both of them threatened to kill themselves if they left them. And they were like, if I don't have you, like I have no one. I don't even want to be alive, blah, blah, blah kind of thing. And both of them took their lives. That is a fucking horrific thing to live with. I've watched it in both my friend and my partner, but I don't know. I'm not friends with that person anymore because, the more I got into my witchy stuff and being a reader, we just pulled apart because there is, at this point, I don't know them, but at that point, they weren't into it at all. Drink some water. So, but my partner, over the years and through his therapy and whatever, has gained the wisdom and knowledge of knowing that it's not his fault. Was he supposed to stay there with her and stay there through the, dysfunction and all the bullshit because she couldn't get her shit together and he wanted a better life for himself? It's like at some point we have to do things. You cannot worry about what somebody else is going to do. And also remember this. That's your ego thinking that you can change it, thinking that you can, you know what I mean? Like you've already made a difference. You were in their life. Everything from here on out is their choice. Everything from here on out is you're fine. Like you don't need to cater to that. Does that make sense? Like you don't have to buy into that. That's their story. That's their bullshit. Let them. Right? Mel Robbins, she has a book called Let Them. And it's very powerful. It's like if someone wants to, cut you off, somebody wants, let them. Is it painful? Yes. I've been in separation with my husband for almost a year. When we decided to do this, one of the last things I said to him, and I didn't even think about this until the other day, because he tends to, I remember I said, boy, if I really wanted to manipulate you, I could. And he's like, why? And I said, because if I give him options, he tends to take whatever the last option was, even if the first option might be better for him. And a lot of that was, I heard laziness, but I don't know if it was laziness so much as like, he just had his view on like certain things. You know what I mean? Like he had his view on things. I had my view on things. And to him, it's not necessarily bad. It's like, okay, I'll take that choice. You know what I mean? And I'll learn through it out, whatever. But there was definitely something there when I said, hey, I saw this thing about Pink and Carrie Hart and how, they've taken many separations and sabbaticals from each other. Because we've done that before, my husband and I. We've been together for 10 years, but the longest we've ever been apart was 6 weeks. So after a few months, and he wasn't coming back, then 3 months, 4 months, and then he's like, I'm not coming back. I don't want to get back together. I want to be divorced. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I said, one of the last things I said to him was that I said, you do what you got to do. I know you're going through, the end of the dark night of the soul energy, and I'm pulling out of it. And my familiar, my black cat, was dying. My mom was dying, my birth mother. And so I was going through all of these like things. And so I was kind of happy that he was taking that time to himself. And he seemed really good and he seemed together. But then after 3 months, I was starting to see what was happening. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's reverting. And then the more I tried to tell him that he wasn't doing a good job, right? But I was trying to say it as lovingly as I could. And I was like, no, I'm like, that's your shadow talking. That's when spirit's like, you have to let it go. You have to let him get through this. And I'm like, what? And they're like, you have to let him go. And so for several months, I thought for sure, like, we are absolutely positively done. And I still have moments where I'm like, I think we're done. But thank goddess, recently we've been like breaking through some walls. But I said to him, I go, do you remember one of the last things I said to you was that Pink said that the best time that their marriage ever, or the time that really healed their marriage, was when they spent a year apart. And I was like, what? I mean, they have kids, so obviously they kept seeing each other. And same with my partner and I, like, we kept seeing each other, but we weren't like going on dates. We weren't like hanging out together. Every time I tried to get him to have a meal with me, he was like, no. I'm like, let's go on an adventure. No, I don't feel comfortable spending that much time with you. And I was like, fucking daggers, arrows to my heart. I'm like, what? You know? And then recently I like had some breakthroughs, and then like we had some talks, and I was like, I feel like we're meant to try again, but like from a different vantage point in a different way. And the more he's been communicating with me of what he needs, what he likes, what he doesn't, all that, it has really been helping me to see our relationship differently, and seeing how much I was controlling and manipulating without even realizing I was doing it. But the number one thing was, I'm like, I just need to know that our love is real and our love is true, because I'm not going to keep fighting for something or pushing towards something that doesn't feel right. And I feel like this is a message for at least one person. Some of you may be in a twin flame relationship, but I'm feeling for a lot of you, this is not what you think it is. It's a soulmate relationship. Just because you've been with them for a long time does not mean they're your twin flame. And just because they're doing better or they're whatever, it is not for you. And I feel like for some of you, this just came through. I feel like the black cat in the mirror is your familiar that's passed on, that's trying to talk to you. And they put him in black because it's like, it could be any, right? Like it could be any color. I don't want to put like, but I feel like this is your familiar saying like, you know, I love you. I have affection for you. And I know you have affection for this person, but you're not there yet. Because I'm also feeling like, right, like, because if it was you and them, it's like there's three. So there's something with that. And I'm going to leave that there. I don't know if we're going to pull any more cards. Let me see if Spirit... the fact that... No, we're good. The fact that 2 came in, I feel like we're meant to go there. So also, before I go, I want to ask them something. Okay, I thought there was one more thing, but I feel like it's for reading too. So if you're drawn to it, go. If you're not, don't make it your medicine. Don't make it your story, right? But I don't even know what it's going to be about, because it's Dreams 2004 Remastered. But I don't know, you know. And I think it's interesting that Spirit has me working with, there are so many different formats I can work with, but they have me working specifically with Pandora. And if they call me to it, I'll put some pictures in the post section so you can kind of look at it. Maybe there'll be some angel numbers in there for you. Sometimes Spirit has me do that. So I'll take screenshots when and if they ask me to, and I will put them in there for you so you can get some more. Maybe there's something on the album cover. It could be anything. Could be from the artist, could be the name of the artist. You know, like I think your song was Billie Holiday, but you'll see it. But anyway, maybe you're Billie, maybe it's something to do with a Bill or a Billie. It could be something like that. It could be something with Billie Eilish. Maybe you guys met at a concert. I mean, it could be anything, you know. That's the thing when people are like, I remember going to this channeling circle once, and this person's like, you know, my mom's been gone for years. We were so close, and I keep telling her, send me signs, send me signs, send me signs. And so the reader at the time was like, hey, what about these white flowers? I keep smelling these. And she's like, oh yeah, that was blah, blah, blah. And then she goes through all these things, and she's like, every single one of them was a sign from your mom. Like, why didn't you think of them as signs? She's like, I don't know, I guess because I thought maybe she would like, I'd see her in a mirror. You know what I mean? So people have their different perceptions of like what a sign is. But I mean, for some of you guys, it could be as simple as like this, like, you know, butterfly. Maybe it's a wink, wink from a family member. This butterfly came to visit me the other day. I forget which kind it is, but it's kind of reminds me of a monarch. And when my grandmother passed away, I would see monarchs all the time. And then my aunt, who was more religious than spiritual, she's like, oh my gosh, I see monarchs all the time too. I feel like, and I think they're my mom, which would be my grandma, right? So now my mom has passed, and yesterday I was outside and I was working outside, and I think there's a name for them, but they kind of look like a monarch, but they're not. And it came to visit me, and I'm not kidding you. I'm like, hi, Grandma. I go, hi, Aunt Kim. Hi, Mom. Like, I realized, because that's the order they died. My grandma first, then my aunt, then my mom. And it was like, I swear, like, with the way that they landed and, like, their wings, it was like each one was like, yep, it's me. Hi, we love you. So you just never know. It could be, maybe it has nothing to do with the cat at all. Maybe for some of you guys, it's a butterfly. But either way, this is a wink, wink from a family member that's telling you that you got this. You're going to be okay. And the number 12 may be significant here, but the number 22 is significant as well. You may even be seeing like 1122, like the time, but there's something with that because we were seeing 11 and now they're showing me 22. And 22 is also the number 4 about laying a good foundation. And I feel like they're like, you'll find the love you need once you build that strong foundation. And maybe you need a salamander, a betta fish, a dog, whatever it is. But I feel like for some of you, if you don't want to be alone, then get a plant. Plant's a living thing too, right? Get something that will take your mind off of this relationship. Because I also feel like for some of you, like you're taking care of this person almost as if they're like your child or a plant or an animal or somebody that like you have to constantly take care of. And Spirit's like, you're doing them a disservice because number 1, they need to learn to take care of themselves. And number 2, you're not the right person for them. And you're literally blocking them from the person they're supposed to be with, and you too. All right. Until next time, take good care of yourselves and each other. I love you so much. So does Spirit. They want you to know that they love you. And all of my information is in the description box if you would like to contribute to the work on this channel or if you would like to work with me one-on-one. Until then, I'll see you next time. Blessed be. Oh, bye. Welcome welcome to your reading from the Green Witch Oracle. Messages you need to hear right now. I don't always start with the card pulled over like that, but it felt like it really wanted to be there. I think it's beautiful as well that it's card number 22 and this is reading 2, and it's wisdom, the bay leaf. Bay leaves are really magical and mystical, especially for the witches. They're really powerful, so I highly recommend you work with them. Also 4716, I just looked down. I feel like those are your angel numbers to work with. They may be, because there's a semicolon in between, it could be 4716 or it could be 47 and then 16. 47 is also the number 11 and 16 is the number 7, so it could be 17, which could be, there's so many variables, but I feel like that means something to somebody. So whenever I see that, I want to acknowledge it. And sometimes Spirit has me jump right in and sometimes they don't. And this one, I feel like they really want me to jump in. Interesting. I haven't really gotten into like reading this deck, like the whole thing and like, like how it came about. But for some reason, I feel like they want me to talk to you about the group that this comes from. So there are 4 like groups of cards in this deck. They have earth, which is vegetables, fire, which is herbs, water, which are fruits, and air, which are flowers. Okay, so they haven't had me bring that up before, but they're really having me call to it now. So you may be, because it's in the fire realm, you may be a fire sign, or maybe you're dealing with a fire sign, either way, which would be Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. But it's number 2, and it's interesting to me that it's the last herb in the deck for the fire section. There are, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are 11. Oh, they have me count that. So 11 must mean something. And if you were drawn to reading 1 was really drawn to come here. So if you were drawn to reading 1, you may want to go and check it out. But it was a love reading. So I just want to let you know, we did talk about self-love, but just so you know, there's, if maybe that's sensitive for you right now, or maybe that's not what you're looking for. I just wanted to put that out there, but it might be for some. But 11 was a big number for that group as well. So I just wanted to say that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 11. But wisdom is the last one. But the first one was affection, which was also, that's what they were saying. Okay, so from reading one, it was also fire energy and fire signs from the herbs. That's what they were trying to say. Okay, got it, got it, got it. It took me a minute, but I got it. So, but that's important. And it's important to some people, clearly, you know, because they wouldn't have me bring it up if it wasn't. So the wisdom, if you chose this by the title, it's Dreams, and it's 2004 Remaster. So what is it in your dreams that it's time for you to remaster? And I almost feel like they wanted me to move that there, maybe because they had me put the fire there as well. So each of these has like a little quote that comes with them. And they didn't have me do the quote for sorrel, but it's interesting because they want me to read it now. So the quote for sorrel is, "The love of gardening is a seed once sown that never dies." So maybe this is about your dreams and the seed, right? Like they couldn't bring them together because I said, can you give me one card per reading? We can pull more cards if it's meant to, but I was like, can we just do one card per reading? And sometimes they have me do that because there's a connection between the cards, not necessarily the reading so much, but the cards. Also, if you look down, each one has like a little thing on the bottom, and this here, look, there's a deck. So it could be that it's time for you to share your wisdom with others, because it looks like a deck, but it also looks like a book, like a journal. Because if you look at this part right here on the bottom, look, there's like a, here, I'll bring it closer. See that? Like kind of like a page holder. So it looks like a book. So it could be a journal. It could be, I just feel like it's time for you to share your wisdom with others. I feel like that wants to go up. It's time for you to share your wisdom with others. And I brought in Lemurian, Moonstone, Quartz, Aura Quartz. I mean, we've got a lot of magical, Labradorite. The little mushroom wanted to come in. Also, this like little green gem wanted to come in. So this could be for somebody, Emerald for May, Gem Birthstone. It could be, there's just a lot of things that are coming through. Also, I'm hearing for some of you, you're so, I literally am hearing you're so worried about money. They're like, but if you just did what you love doing, you're gonna make the money that you want. But you have to remember that, you know, some things take time. They're not gonna happen overnight. I have been doing this practice for 10 years. If somebody told me 10 years ago all the things that I was going to have to go through to get to where I am now, I probably wouldn't have accepted it at that point, and that like level of consciousness where I was. I probably would have been like, that's too hard. I don't really care about it. I don't want to do it. But I didn't have a choice. It was my life. Like, that's my life purpose. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's why I'm here. You know, I've had people say to me in the last few years, like, you know, I see people with hundreds of thousands of subscribers on YouTube. How come you don't, you know, blah, blah, blah. Or how come, you know, maybe you should do readings every day. Everybody's always telling me what I should do, how I should do it. And I'm like, I go by what I'm supposed to do, what I'm meant to do, what I feel. I use my pendulum when I'm in doubt. I connect with spirit. That's my job. But I needed to acquire all of those hardships, or I should say, in order for me to acquire all the wisdom that I have now that I'm putting before you, I had to go through all those hardships. I had to go through all that work. Now, does that mean you have to, you know, have a horrible time? No, it's on the way you look at it. You know, I mean, looking back on it now, it was only a hardship because I chose for it to be a hardship at the time. But looking back on it now, I always had food. I always, you know, and I had to shed myself of the third dimensional worries, concerns, woes, all of that shit. I'm taking a screenshot because that's just too cute. You know, it's like, but wisdom is something that is gained. You don't just get it, you know. You can read one book and may have some knowledge on the subject, but if you read many books from many different people, from all different sources of people who wrote the book from their level of consciousness at the time, you're going to get a more in-depth energy and answer for it. So I feel like there's something to be said about that. I really wanted to read that quote in the first one. That's so funny. But I have a feeling Spirit wants me to put some screenshots. So check in the post section of my channel. I'm going to take some pictures and put some I'm saying screenshots, but I'm going to take some pictures and I'll put them in the post section from the book, because they always have like deeper meanings. I mean, they didn't have me do the spell or anything, because also just because these have spells in them, this is the Green Witch Oracle, and they do have spells per card. Not everybody, likes to do the spells, but some people do, and they like to do the ritual of it. I feel like, it's like abracadabra, you're speaking it into being. I mean, I also believe the reason why I've acquired so much knowledge and why I've become this is because I've been doing these readings, and this has been my research, is working with oracle cards, working with decks, reading books about spirit animals, sharing them with you. You know what I mean? Like, I built this from the ground up. Like, this was a grassroots endeavor. That was the way I was meant to go. But I also did a lot of shady shit when I was younger in survival mode that, the karma had to balance itself out. Also, I had to prove to spirit that I was going to do it even through the hardships. If anything, in spite of the hardships, I still did it. And this isn't like, oh, look at me. It's just like, I'm trying to tell you that it doesn't come easy to everybody. I had one of my shamans that I worked with, her mother, actually two of my strongest shamans that I worked with, both of them, their mothers were witches. They were outed witches. They were like doing spirit work. They were, working with herbs and essential oils, and, they were green witches from the beginning. One of my shamans, it was like many, many, many generations. Like, they'd always been that. They never hid. They never, you know what I mean? So it's different, but like, I grew up in a family that was, one side of my family was Southern Baptist, the other side was Catholic. And, either way, no matter which way you're looking, they read from the same book, and they also, had the same beliefs for people like me, right? Like, I was a witch, like, hang me from the nearest tree. So I wasn't exactly like coming out to my family, or like, it took me a long time. And then eventually I didn't talk to any of my family at all, because speaking of dreams, the title of your reading, it's like, when spirit comes to us in our dreams, we can't deny it anymore, because when we're in that dream state, we know that that's our subconscious, that's our vulnerability. That's where, if you're like, what the fuck kind of dream is that? It's like, even those kind of dreams, you're learning something, you're growing, something is coming to you, for you, through, whatever. If you are a natural witch, which I feel like you guys are, and now that's just a title I like to use because this is a witchy deck, but I feel like for you guys, the fact that you pulled this card and you pulled this information, this is just like 5702. This is just like a wink, wink, from your spirit guides, basically, like saying, like, you're on the right track. Don't let other people, tell you what you need. Hold on, I'm going to try and help this guy. Hey, buddy, come here. But maybe he wants to be helped, maybe he doesn't. This fly came into reading 1. I have a window, like, wide open. I'm like, come on, you can leave. No one's, like, keeping you here. I'm trying to get him out, but anyway, so let's get to your quote. So your quote is from Elizabeth Lawrence, and it says, I love being asked to identify plants, and I don't know which gives me more pleasure, to know what they are or not to know what they are. All right? So this is a quest for you. I feel like your mission, should you choose to accept it from spirit. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're coming back, welcome back. This is a personal invitation from spirit to you to say, it's time, right? It's time. You have the strength. You have the power. Now is the time. Now is the hour. It is time for you to start looking more closely into who you are and your gifts. And it could be about dreams that you're having, or it could just be like dreams that you've had as a child, like what you want to be, what you want to do, those kind of things. So the oracle meaning is external assistance should be sought, which can take the form of personal consultancy or research. You do not have all the facts or the facilities just yet, but are still in a good position. The bay leaf indicates success through diligent application and also heralds new romantic relationships. And I heard for some, okay? Be wary of speaking your mind without care of others around you, as you are not going to be the most knowledgeable or experienced. This isn't to say to not use like your gifts. I'm hearing from spirit, like, just be mindful. You never know who's around you and who knows more information. If you don't know, when I was growing up, I was the youngest, and I always got this vibe like, oh, you don't know anything. You don't know anything. You don't know anything. And when you keep getting this like that you don't know anything, then you want to start knowing things. And it only took a few people to call me out when I pretended like I knew something for them to go, no, actually, that's not true. That's what I'm like, oh, really? That's what I was told. And they're like, well, somebody told you the wrong thing. And of course, I'd blame it on somebody else because I didn't want to make me look bad, right? Like, I was just like, oh, that's what somebody told me. And they're like, who told you? I'm like, I don't remember now, like, and I mean, it was so obvious that I was lying. And then I started to realize that, number one, I was a shitty fucking liar. And number two, I was glad I was a shitty liar because I'm not really a liar and I don't want to lie. And I feel like it's the same for you. Like, you're not a liar, right? Like, so if you don't know something, be humble and put your ego aside and say, I don't know that. Can you teach me, or can you show me, or to look it up yourself? I'm hearing the laziness stops here. Interesting, laziness came up in reading 1 as well. So stop, relying on other people. It's like readings, right? Like, I remember I went through a phase where I was watching readings all the time. I learned stuff, but also readings can kind of fuck with you because you have to remember that they're mass readings online. So, one message that you're hearing may be for one person in like a reading of 30,000 people that's watching that. I mean, seriously, you just never know. So it's about it's like your intuitive wisdom, right? Like what feels right, what sits right in your gut. So the magical correspondence to this card are, it's for clairvoyance, energy, wishes, defense, and inspiration. And I think it's interesting that your title is dreams and then wishes, because I kind of look at them as very similar, right? Like, what is your dream? Like, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? What's your wish? I was watching America's Got Talent yesterday, and some beautiful soul, I'm assuming they go, it's a woman, but I don't know what they go by. But anyway, they actually made it onto the show for she was throwing footballs. And apparently she's known for being like this trick queen or something, but somebody's like, you got to get on America's Got Talent. Like, this would be really, awesome. So she did it, and I like researched further afterwards. But I mean, her dream was to throw footballs to show people how far she can throw a football. And Terry Crews, who, is on America's Got Talent host, and he's an ex-football player, and he's like, holy shit, like, that's a really fucking hard shot. Like, that last like throw that she had, he's like, they were like joking, saying like Tom Brady's got nothing on her, so you never know. It's like somebody else might be like, she was on America's Got Talent because she can throw a fucking football. It's like, no, she was on America's Got Talent because she can throw a fucking football, right? Because they don't think of women, even though they may have leagues and whatever, like, you don't think of women in professional football, but maybe it's time that we start looking at that, and I think there are some leagues that have women in them, but not very many. Because the other thing too is getting hit, because these guys, like, when they hit, it's like getting hit by a fucking, car or a train. Like, these guys, they're trained. So they're like, some women, they're smaller, they're more fragile. Even with men, it's like a lot of times on the team, unless you've got like one hell of an arm, they're going to go with somebody who's got a hell of an arm, but also is a big person who can handle themselves, because otherwise the other teammates, they have to be able to protect that person. So I don't know why that came up, but I feel like that's for somebody. Interesting. Okay, so the deities connected to this are Asclepius. I think that's how you say it. Asclepius. Apollo. There'll be pictures in the post section. Apollo, Ceridwen, Cupid, Daphne, Delphi, Eros, Faunus, Helios, and Ra. And all of those deities have different energies connected to them, but Ra really stood out to me, and Ra is the sun god, so it could be somebody, maybe the sun has something to do with it. Also, the celestial sign is Jupiter. Jupiter is the ruling planet for Sagittarius, so if this may be for somebody, because we were talking about the fire energy and fire signs. And also the astrological sign connected to this card is Leo. So again, here's another fire sign. So this could be a Leo, or you're a Leo. The wisdom spell is find new inspiration with a stimulating bay oil. And so it talks about how to make a bay oil and candles. And I will, you can take a screenshot right now, or I'm going to put it in there as well. But I want to talk about the cultivation, because I want to see if it has the same, because in the last reading we spoke about the cultivation, and I want to see if it has the same for you. So it says the bay leaf is or the bay is a large tree that is propagated via seeds or cuttings and will grow best in a temperate/Mediterranean climate. They will grow in most free draining soils and require full sun or semi-shade. Although slow growing, bay tree will reach over 10 meters in height eventually, so space needs to be taken into consideration. Harvest anytime by simply picking the leaves. We had a lot of metaphors that came through reading one with the cultivation part, but I feel like for this one, you can read into any metaphors you like. Also, it's on page 54, which is the number 9, and I feel like that means something, but it could be an age 54 or 45 backwards. The fly came up in reading 1, and it can easily leave right now, so it's like kind of hanging out. Came up in some of the other readings that we've done recently. If Spirit calls me to, I will put it in the description section. But I kind of feel like this might be it. I know it's like kind of short and sweet to the point, but let me see if there's any other cards that want to come through for you right now. Do we want to pull any more cards? Okay, here we go. I pulled twice, so I'm going to take it. Number 11. Oh my gosh, transition, cauliflower. Look at that candle. We just spoke about making bay leaf candles. So there's something with this too. Maybe you're meant to make your own candles, or maybe that's a business you want to do. You could do blessings as well. You know, some people sell blessings. I don't do that. I'm not saying it's not real. Oh, look at it. It's like it didn't want to be there. That's weird. I'm not saying it's not real. I feel like, do you really need another human being to do a blessing for you? I mean, could I do a blessing for you? Of course. Can you do a blessing for yourself? Yeah. So I feel like maybe it wants to be sideways because like you're not ready yet. And it's okay, by the way. Also, what did I say about maybe it's angel number 1122? And look at that, 1122. So that's very interesting. We are so going to read this one. We're so going. That's so wild. Ooh. So get this. So remember we were talking about that they are in like 4 different groups. So this is an earth energy. So now we're going fire to earth. So the vegetables. And interesting that the cauliflower is the last vegetable in that too. So it's like, I almost feel like because the cauliflower is the last vegetable, the bay leaf was the last, like, of its group. I feel like you're at the precipice of something really, really huge. And this one's so cool too, because we've got the moon, we've got a half moon cycle. So that might mean something to you guys. So we've got the waxing crescent moon energy. That's how I'm reading it. It could be the waning crescent, but it's definitely a crescent moon. And then we've got a candle, and we've got a book, and we've got decks. I am telling you right now, if you were dreaming about being a reader or some type of healer, like, just do it. You're going to have to put in the time and the energy, though, you guys. I feel like people will put in the energy to go to college. People will put in the energy. I'm going to pose back a little bit. They'll, like, whatever. But you tell somebody they got to read a book or go to YouTube University, and they're just like, oh, I don't want to do that. It's like, what's the difference? YouTube University, it's not a joke. It's a real thing. I mean, if YouTube was the way it was when I was a kid, I would have never even cared about college, or even when I went back for fashion design in my late 30s, like, YouTube was there, but it's not like it is now. It is such a different world. I mean, even now, it's been like 16 years ago since I had gone back to college. So 16 years ago, the internet, or YouTube, well, of course the internet and, these other apps and, social media, but there's so much on YouTube. It's unbelievable. Now there's fakes and there's phonies and there's people out there. I always say if somebody wants you to give them money, I would be a little, like, it's different when I'm like, hey, if you guys want to do a reading with me, obviously, yes. If you want personal time with me one-on-one, it's going to cost you. I'm sorry, but it is. These are free. This channel is free. I don't get paid to do this channel. I don't have any, any type of advertising or anything like that. This channel is free until someday it gets monetized. And obviously, if you want to contribute, you can do that. I have links to do that. But all I ever ask is to at least do a prayer, you know, send a prayer my way, whatever you want to pray for me for, whatever, you know, it's all good. I accept all prayers. But that's just good karma for both of us, because when someone's helping you, it's just an exchange of energy. It's saying thank you, you know, it's having gratitude. So whatever you were going through, you're transitioning out of it. You're going into like, because look at how I wanted to put it to the right, but they're having it to the left. Like they want you to see that you're going from an 11 to a 22, right? Like you're going up a whole fucking level. You're going to transition whatever out of this into that. And I would work with bay leaves and cauliflower. I don't know if I've ever put them together, but I bet that would taste good together too, putting some bay leaves in with your cauliflower. I'm just getting this vibe from spirit, like it's time to get real on a daily basis. Do you want to go out? I can easily help you. Oh my gosh, see, this fly is like, I keep wanting to help this fly because I can see him struggling and suffering. And I feel like spirit's like, stop looking at other people. It's not your job to save somebody. And if they're struggling and they're suffering, they can easily get themselves out of it, because struggling and suffering, as Dolly Parton used to say, you know, we were as poor as you can be. But, you know, mom always said, like, you know, I'm paraphrasing the song, but like she says, like, you're only poor if you choose to be. You're only poor if you choose to be. Don't focus on what you don't have. Focus on what you have now and be grateful for that. Be grateful for what you have and be excited about what's coming your way. I've been getting all these things from spirit lately about the I am, right? Like I am filled with wisdom. I am, you know, whatever, insert your, you know, I am abundant, I am wealthy, I am happy, I am joyful. You're telling the universe that, so the universe is giving you that energy back. If you tell the universe that you're struggling, you'll be struggling. If you tell the universe, you know, because they're like, oh, okay, you want to keep learning these lessons? That's what I'm going to give you. We keep forgetting that the whole entire universe is energy. Everything is made up of energy. Earth is no exception. If anything, you know, this is the whole point of Earth itself, is learning that, you know, this is a school, right? This is YouTube University school. Earth is a school as well for the soul. So, you know, it's about learning, it's about growing, it's about expansion. So, I'm going to go to this now. I had to talk about that because that was just too wild. Okay. So I don't know if I'm saying this correctly. Ramakrishna, their quote is, when the flower blooms, the bees come uninvited. The oracle meaning is, cauliflower heralds a change. This might have happened recently, be happening soon, or the energy around a change is unsettled. A rebirth, Freudian slip, so that could be for somebody. A rebirth can now take place, and if you're holding on to what has gone before, it is time to let go for good. A reactivation can take place in any area of your life if there has been a lull or setback. Be wary of deceit and corruption. So when I saw deceit and corruption, I saw like maybe somebody who's like, you can't do this, or you're not good enough for that. And you're like, you know what? Thank you for just reiterating like what I needed to, like, or like confirming what I needed to hear. Like, you don't support me. You don't, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like for some of you, you're starting to see beyond the veil. Like, you're really starting to see, especially those of you who have people who are holding you back. Nobody's holding you back but you. They're not doing anything but just being themselves. So if they're manipulating whatever, you're fucking taking the bait. You're the one that's like biting, right? Like, if someone's like, oh, those dreams, those are too big, nobody's ever gonna, that's why America's Got Talent is so important. I saw something recently with Simon Cowell where he said, my dream is for my son to take over America's Got Talent. I want it to be something that runs forever, because he's like, it's important. People need to see that you don't need to be rich. You don't need to be beautiful. You don't need to be thin. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to, whatever your vision of perfect is, you don't need to be that to show the world what you have. When this woman was throwing the footballs, I was like, oh my gosh, I felt like I was watching Melissa McCarthy's character from Bridesmaids. I'm not fucking kidding. Like, I'm like, is that who she really is? Or is she like playing a character? Because I was like, seriously, I'm like, am I the only one that like sees that? But you know, it's like she was fulfilling her dream. She's like, I'm a middle school PE teacher. And when I looked in the comments, so many people are like, holy shit, that's my teacher. That was my teacher. She's so awesome, you know, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, when I see all these people in costumes, I feel like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? Because she's wearing like gym shoes and, you know, comfy pants and a t-shirt, but she needed to be in that outfit to perform her act, right? Like she's throwing a football, so she needs to be comfortable. She needs to be able to, you know, whatever, you know. And some people, they're like performing and they want to wear an outfit that makes them feel strong. You know, maybe some people hide behind, there was that one woman that came on AGT who is a vocalist, and I forget her name now, but she's a fairy, and she's a famous fairy. She has a YouTube channel, but she came on there as a fairy, and some people were making fun of her, and you see her like starting to get kind of emotional, and you see the other people are like, fuck that. They totally supported her. And they're like, if you think you're a fairy, then you're a fucking fairy. Like, show us what you can do. What did she do? She fucking sang, and like, she had a standing ovation. She ended up being on the show. Drink some water. Throat chakra. Get those cobwebs out of your throat. If you want to sing, go sing. You want to write a book, write a book. You want to be an artist, be an artist. It is never too late. You are never too old. There is no such thing. Your wisdom is in knowing what you love. When you love something and you are naturally good at it, you may shake and quiver a little bit, but like if you took a moment and took a breath, you'd realize that like the only thing, the nerves are coming from fear, and the fear is coming from something else. So you need to figure out like where the fear is coming from. One of the last times I ever performed live in front of people, I was so confident going in. I was so confident 100%. I was so confident going in. But I made the biggest mistake of all time. I had initially agreed to do this live performance when I was, well, I should say I was sober, but I didn't realize that I wasn't fully sober yet, meaning like all the times that I performed, I was always drunk or stoned or both, and I didn't care. So I would just like sing my heart out. When I got to the event, I was so overwhelmed, and I was like, I can't do this. And I fucking talked myself out of it. I went back and forth to my car. I cried. I was like, why did I say I was going to do this? I don't want to do this. And then I'm like, I think I need to drink. Maybe I should just do a shot or something. Long story short, I was a fucking mess. I forgot the words, and it was one of the worst performances of my life. And I was like, I'm never performing again. That was Spirit's way of telling me I'm not meant to be a singer. And then I realized, I'm like, no, it's because I wasn't prepared. And all the other times I did the same thing all the time, and I was fine. But this was something that I was fine when I was practicing at home. But when I got in front of all these hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, it was different. And I was like, holy shit. And I had to sing the national anthem, and you could hear a fucking pin drop. And all of a sudden I had to sing it with no music, and I let my nerves get the best of me. And when my microphone started to shake, I had to like hold my hand with the other hand. And they said, you can face the audience or you can face the flag, like whatever makes you feel comfortable. And so I started out like facing the audience, but then when I saw everybody look at me and smiling, and I felt beautiful, like I looked really great, and you know, but all of a sudden I just got really nervous. And when I looked over at my partner, they were just like you got this, but they'd never seen me sing live before. And all I can tell you is I lost my noodle, and I turned around to look at the flag, but I could feel their energy, and I still didn't know exactly 100%. Like I knew what I was, but like I don't think I realized at the time like who I was or like what my energy was. And I let my nerves get the best of me. I never really liked singing the national anthem. It was just something that I had done for like gigs or like a side job or like whatever. And I'd sing the national anthem so many times, I fucking forgot the words. And then I was like, and then I would like pause, and it was a fucking nightmare. And then I was like, do we stay for the game or not? Because it was the Portland roller derby, and I'd always wanted to go. I actually thought about like joining the roller derby, and looking back on it now, I wish I just watched Whip It again. I hadn't seen it in years, and it was free on YouTube right now. So I watched Whip It, and all this is coming back to me. That's why it's so fresh. And I'm like, I wish I had listened to what I really wanted to do. Was I always wanted to be a roller derby person, and I think I would have been really good at it. I loved roller skating when I was a kid. I was a very good roller skater, and I was very aggressive sport person. I'm like, this is like the sport I was born for. But when I went to sign up for that, they said something like, "Oh, I thought you were here to sing the national anthem or something." And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, you can do that." So after that, I didn't join up for the roller derby because I was like completely mortified. I didn't want anyone to know that that was me, or I mean, it was just like a nightmare all the way around. But if I had just gone for that, maybe I could have sung one time. They would have let me, whatever. But anyway, I digress. All I'm saying is that like I tried to cram too many of my dreams into one situation instead of just like allowing that to be that and allowing that to be that and going with my wisdom while I was going through such a massive transition. Like I was going through such a massive transition. I went from drinking and smoking weed like all the time to like not drinking for months. I still smoked weed, but I didn't drink. And then I tried to drink before it, and that just made it. No, I think I got high before, and then afterwards I drank. And then I ended up going on a bender after that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like everything just like went awry, all because I just didn't listen to myself and what I really wanted. And I mean, obviously, if I was meant to, I would have. You know what I mean? Like, I would have been in the roller derby if I was meant to, but it is what it is. I just feel like I'm meant to talk about that because this is, your title of your thing is dreams. And I feel like when it says be wary of deceit and corruption, it's like sometimes that deceit and corruption can come from within. It doesn't have to necessarily be an outside source. So the magical correspondences, the energy is calm, emotions, lunar rituals, glamour magic, and change, which is very interesting too because the moonstone didn't come into the other one, but it wanted to come into yours. So I feel like for some of you, like maybe you're meant to work with a moonstone. Moonstones are very magical, very witchy. They're not for the faint of heart. They look different. I'm trying to get, there's no light in here right now. Oh, do you kind of see it now? Do you see that edge? How it's kind of going like opalescent? So work with moonstone if you have it. If you don't, and you have the means to do so, get yourself a moonstone. Work with the moon cycles. Spirit is like calling you to. Bay leaf is like one of the like biggest things. Like I used to always have bay leaves. Like it's like the witch's like number one thing. There are so many healing things with bay leaves. You can burn them, you can eat them, they're just very ritualistic. So I would definitely work with bay leaves. And then glamour magic. Glamour magic is very interesting. Glamour magic is like, if you think of like the craft, you know what I mean? To me, I think glamour magic is just another form of manipulation, but that's between you and spirit. So I'm going to leave that there. But the main words that stuck out to me were calmness, change, and lunar rituals. The deities to work with are Diana, Isis, Kuan Yin, and Selene. The celestial energy is the moon, of course, love it. Astrological sign is Cancer. So you may be working, even though this is the earth energy, you may be a Cancer, or maybe you're dealing with a Cancer at this time. So they have a transition recipe from a deeper connection with lunar energies with a magical soup. Slice a head of cauliflower into florets and lay on a baking tray. Sprinkle with oil and roast on medium heat until golden. Fry 1 sliced onion, 2 cloves of garlic until browned. Then puree with the cauliflower and 3 cups of stock. Add herbs to taste and also cream or seasoning if desired. Drink from a round white bowl under the moon. So you can go that way, or you could just like make the food. And like, here's the thing. Do I believe in rituals? Yes. Do I believe in magic? Of course. But I remember when I was starting my stuff too, I would ask my shamans, I'd be like, which just really means teacher. I would just say, hey, do I need to do that? Like, I need to do it all the way, right? Like under the moon. And they're like, yeah, you can. They're like, but we forget that the whole point of abracadabra is speaking something into being. When we're thinking something, we are planting the seed, we are originating it. And then as we talk about it and we put it out into the world, we're planting the seed. So it's, I try not to say too much because I think it's really interesting. So I'm going to put screenshots of all of these cards in the post section, so check them out. The cultivation is plant cauliflower in early to mid-autumn in most areas and in colder climates from late summer through to autumn. Ensure you plant the seeds in full sun in a bed that has not had brassica crops for at least 2 previous seasons. I don't know what brassica is. Oh, so brassica is the name of the cauliflower. It's the what do they call it? The Latin. So it's saying plant the seeds in full sun in a bed that hasn't had cauliflower there before for at least 2 previous seasons. The soil needs to be rich and water retentive. Harvesting is best done by removing the entire plant when the head is fully formed to variety type. Smaller secondary heads will develop, but these can attract pests. Okay. So I like reading the cultivation because I feel like there are like hidden like messages in the cultivation. So if this is for you and you're thinking about moving or going somewhere, like because it's under transition, they're saying so plant in early to mid autumn. So maybe a good time for you to move would be like late summer, early fall, and in somewhere that's in a colder climate from late summer to autumn. So it could be like maybe you're meant to live more in like the northern hemisphere, like in Canada or like northern Europe or things like that, like places like that. Russia. I mean, right now I know there's a lot going on with that, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, because I don't know who you are and where you're watching from, but I'm just hearing like somewhere that, maybe you're somebody that lives in a tropical climate and you're like, I was born and raised in Florida. I hate it here. But you go on a trip to like, northern Scotland and you're like, oh my God, I love it here. And you're like, I feel like I belong here. Well, then you might want to think of living somewhere like in the Pacific Northwest, or if you want to stay in the States, or you know what I mean? But I feel like that is for somebody. Okay. Make sure that you plant them in full sun though. Like, so maybe you're somebody who likes cold, but make sure that it's somewhere that it's not like here, like the Pacific Northwest is beautiful, but it's very rainy. If you don't like a lot of rain, then maybe you want to live in Colorado where it's like you still get sun in the winter, things like that. Let's see what else. Oh, and it's also saying like you may not want to go back. So maybe you lived somewhere before and you've been thinking about moving there, and Spirit's like, maybe that's not the right place for you. Or if it's been like 2 or 3 years and maybe you've grown, maybe the place has grown, maybe take a trip there and check it out. I don't know. They're having me read between the lines. That's interesting. Make sure that the soil is rich and water retentive. So again, it could be somewhere that you like water. Maybe you like Seattle or somewhere, somewhere like that. And that's it. But I like how it's saying like, you want to pull it like when it's good. You don't want the second crop to come because it'll attract pests. So there's something with that too. Maybe you're meant to go by yourself. Don't bring someone with you because maybe it sounds like a good idea to have them move with you, but in the end you're like, yeah, I think I'd be better on my own. I don't know. We'll see. Are there any more messages, Spirit? Do we have any more messages for reading 2? Do we have any more messages for reading 2 at this time? Okay, nope, those are your messages. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. And if you would like to work with me, or if you'd like to donate anything to this tribe in any way, shape, or form, all of my information is in the description box. I was gonna say, is never, ever, ever expected, but it's always appreciated. And if it's not in your wheelhouse to do so, like I said, prayers are free, and it's a good exchange of energy for you and for me. All right, until next time. Take good care of yourselves and each other. I love you. Blessed be. Oh, bye. Welcome, reading 3. As I open the portal for reading 3, I feel such a strong fairy energy. Welcome, sweet fairies. I was feeling so much from you guys. Like, I feel like I just want to like throw some stuff in. So just bear with me. I'm just going to kind of throw stuff in. I felt like it was set up, and then I felt like I wanted to. Yeah, there's just like all these like little cute things just like poking out. They even like had me wear some of like my fun fairy jewelry. And yeah, I feel this really strong, fun pretty, sparkly, and I know pretty subjective, but like this was back there, but I feel like I want it to not be back there. I'm feeling like this strong. I didn't ask Spirit if I should pull anything in before I came in, because now I'm thinking I almost want to put, oh, you know what? Maybe I could put her back here. I was going to get up and get my amethyst. Hi. Look at that. You got a butterfly. Yeah, there's some cool fairy energy going on with you guys right now. So let's just dive into your card. I know what it is. I'm not going to lie. I know what it is. So I'm excited. Okay, you ready? Here we go. What messages do you need to hear from Spirit right now? Number 14, divination. Chives. Okay. Beautiful. Also, 14 might be a significant number for you, but also 1 and 4 is 5. So I feel like maybe you're going through some form of change and transformation right now. I'm feeling like something green wants to go there. Oh, look at this. I have this cool, look at this rock I found. It's the prettiest green. It's naturally green like that. I found it when I was hiking in the Olympic, I think I was in the Olympic Mountains, or I might have been Mount Rainier, I don't remember anymore. I travel so much. I live in the Pacific Northwest, and I've been to some of the most beautiful, magical places, and I forget sometimes. But I feel like divination needs to be seen. Okay, there we go. I want to dive right into the book. Also, I'm almost positive, I think that's a Scorpio energy. If it's not, it's Virgo. But I'm feeling, so maybe I was meant to mention both. I don't know. Because sometimes I'll say something and I'm like, oh yeah, that's it, 100%. And then other times I'll say it and I don't know. It sounds bizarre, but it's almost like my human like leaves and I'm not really quite sure what it is. And then like a few hours later, I'll be just as sure about it again. I don't know why that happens. Does that happen with anybody else? Any of my other fellow readers out there? Okay, so divination is, here's the oracle meaning. You are the master of your own free will, aligned with the divine, and at present energies are strong. Wait, let me start this over. You are the master of your own free will, aligned with the divine, and at present energies are strong deep within you to help change your destiny and meet challenges powerfully. So, that's so interesting. So when this was coming together, I asked Spirit to give me, music titles. I feel like they want me to put the songs. I'm going to put the songs in the description box too. You've probably already seen it, but I haven't done it yet. But yours was really interesting because I can't remember which was which, but one was the title of the album and one was the title of the song, and it was All Souls Night. And then they had me put ... the visit. So interesting. In reading 2, we spoke about dreams, actual dreams, but then like dream state, like when you're sleeping. And then we spoke about like dreams. So if you are drawn to reading 2, you may want to look at reading 2. Sometimes when we have these 4 readings and they're just like a generic, what messages you need to hear from Spirit, it's like they can all be completely different, but yet they all have something to say to people. Sometimes I'm like, don't go reading the other readings. This is specifically like, if you chose this one, if it's not your reading, go to another one. But, sometimes if you read too many readings, it can confuse you. But today is one of those, because it's the 3rd one and I'm just getting into it. It was the same. It was like, one was like, maybe you want to go to reading 2. And I hadn't even done reading 2 yet, but I felt like, then 2, I was like, you might want to go to 1. So it's kind of the same thing. I feel like if you were drawn to any of the other readings, then, maybe you want to check those out. And also, because you're reading 3, but I just said that, I haven't done reading 4 yet. So it might be even like, maybe there's a new beginning for you in reading 4. Get it? Like 1s are like new beginnings. Whoops, sorry. And then, 4 is the reading. So maybe reading 4 will be good for you as well. I'll just leave that there. Oh, and sometimes it's not an accident when that happens. Sometimes Spirit wants to pull back a little bit. Let me hold on. But out of all of the the names, the titles, like whatever you want to say of the readings. I have to say yours was the one that I was like, oh, I'm like, what's that one going to be? You know, because I'm like, All Souls Night, the visit. So I feel like maybe you guys are getting visits from in your dream state, or maybe you're visiting places in your dream state. Also, I didn't even think about it until now that they, you know, called me to bring in this little, uh, oh my gosh. Okay, so here's another one. Crystal ball. So it could even be for some of you, like, you know, the divination could be part of the dream state, you know? Like maybe that's how you're getting your messages from spirit. Maybe you're somebody who predicts, like, you'll dream it and then it happens. You know, feel free to comment below. I love when people tell me like their stories, you know, and share them with other people, because, you know, we're all going through different things. We're all going through the same thing in some ways, but we're all at different levels of consciousness. So we're going through them at different times, different places, different ages, different locations in the world, depending on, you know, what color we are, what gender, race, you know what I mean? Like, so there's so many variables, but at the underlying, we all have the same growth, spiritual growth process. So All Souls Night, the visit. Also, I just saw like a little alien person, like I come in peace. So holy crap, have any of you guys ever like been visited by, like, have you been abducted? Because, you know, some people think that's a mass hysteria thing, and some people think it's really happened, and some people are like, no, it really happened to me. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, because I've had the weirdest things to me happen and I've experienced things. But if it's happened to you, I'm kind of curious, because when I look at chives, I always kind of think of them, they kind of do have an alien-esque beauty about them, you know. And it's funny, growing up, I hated onions or anything to do with onions, and now I love them. I love chives, and I love that chives are like so spicy, but yet they have like these beautiful pink perennial flowers that come out that are just so adorable. So I kind of feel like that's part of what they're trying to say to you too. Like maybe you've got a spicy and a sweet side. Maybe they want you to share that. Okay, so the cultivation of this plant is, chives can be planted at any time in warmer tropical zones from spring through to late summer, in temperate areas, and in colder climates from mid-spring to mid-autumn. This perennial herb can be grown in pots and divided to create new plants when they become overcrowded. Plant in a full sun or semi-shaded position in most soil types. Harvest required by cutting leaves close to the base. It's on page 38, which is also 11, and I have to say that because 11 came up in reading 1 and reading 2, and, you know, that's an angel number. So either you align with being an earth angel, or you're a light worker who works really closely with angels, with the divine realm. Maybe you're doing divination now, like maybe you do different forms of divination. My eyes are going to the divination spell, so I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to put pictures of these in the post section as well, though. So if you don't freak out, you'll find it. You'll be good. It says, follow these instructions to create a powerful green witch divination reading tool. Clear an area before you and have the person the reading is for, you or another person, hold a bunch of chives. Think about the area of your life they are seeking clarity with, or the question they have. Throw the chives into the air and interpret the patterns formed when they fall. So you can do that with anything. You can do that with straws. You can do that with rocks. So maybe you're a scryer, and maybe Spirit's trying to show you that you're a scryer, and that's like part of your, it's like part of your calling is to be a scryer, because this was a very generic, like whatever messages you need to hear from Spirit right now. So, this could even just be a little kick in the fanny to tell you, you know, however it works for you. If they call me to, I will put a link below to the Majestic Tarot. I'm almost positive that's her channel. She's so cute. I've never seen an image of her, but she sounds like, I think she's British. I don't know, or she has an accent of someone, and she's like very sweet, and she's like very fairy like, and like I have this image of her. I have no idea what she looks like, but she's just got this very magical fairy. So, you know, maybe you want to do a channel, but you don't want to see people. You don't want people to see you, I mean. You know what I mean? There are so many ways to do things now. So that I feel like that message was at least for one person. The magical correspondences are protection from evil, calm fear, abundance, strength, and emotional balance. What? Dude, these are like readings within a reading. I literally like felt like you guys, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to talk to Spirit about this. It is Scorpio, by the way, because it says astrological sign Scorpio. I don't know if they're going to have me do an extension and do readings on these, or if it's going to be the next Sacred Sunday. In real time, today is June 6, 2025, so Sacred Sunday will be on the 8th. And I never know what the theme is until like the day before they have me make a promo video. But I'm going to, you know what, I'm going to get real with this right now, because I feel like these are either topics we're going to talk about, or because I just saw all these things. Okay, do we want to use this card and this energy for this Sacred Sunday? Because I'm like, it just started coming through. Okay, so whenever this is going to air is when this is going to, I think they're going to have me post this today on Friday the 6th. So maybe you're meant to show up to Sacred Sunday on the 8th. Maybe there's something there, or maybe you're meant to just watch it later. You don't have to be there for the live, but we do live readings every Sunday at noon Pacific Standard Time. And it's called Sacred Sunday on this channel. So I honestly, because I saw protection from evil, and I was just like, evil, like I don't even talk like that. And then it said calm fear. And then I basically saw readings within these readings, but I also feel like it's meant for you. Like, I feel like for some of you, you're like, yep, I feel that. Because you may have some looky-loos, whether it's friends, family, on your social media, or maybe you do have a channel already. But I kind of get the vibe that, like, just block them. You know, sometimes you have to block people, even if they're, you know, were your friends and your family, or both, especially those people. Because they think they have a right to come in and fucking tell you like how to live your life or do your thing. When I looked down, it was 4144. So that's an angel number for sure. And they could be ages too, because it's 41 semicolon 44. And because it was one, like for the hour, it could be like a new beginning. You could be 41, they could be 44. I feel like a sisterly thing. And you know what? I feel like this sister needs to, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. I feel like she needs to fuck off. Like, because I feel like this is somebody who you may have looked up to or whatever, but now I'm getting the vibe like, you don't need anybody. You're fucking powerful. Look at this. This feather literally just came out. Like, I was like, what is poking me? This just came out of my pillow. So I feel like Spirit's been trying to send you signs. Because also, if you look at this feather, I mean, there's all different like color feathers, but it's like kind of dark and then light. And I feel like this is somebody who wants you to stay in shadow, who wants you to like, wow, we're getting real. We're doing some straight up fucking channeling for you right now. And maybe this will be for a Sacred Sunday too. But I definitely feel like there's something about that with you. And thank you for bringing your beautiful energy in to be the gateway for us for our lead for Sacred Sunday. I'm going to do something. Did I take a picture of this already? I was going to say, I know that there was one of these where I was like, that's pretty. I want to take a picture. But I feel like maybe this is what we're meant to talk about on Sunday, about people who are in divination energy, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, a lot of people get fucking jealous. I had to stop talking to certain friends and family because they either would tell me they were jealous of me, or they would literally like give off such an envious energy that I would say to them the most loving way, like, don't be jealous of me. Like, you've got your gifts, I've got mine. Like, we just all have different, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, there's nothing to be jealous of. The calm fear, I feel like, is facing adversity, you know, with calmness. Like, maybe you're going to have somebody who's going to be a pain in the ass or whatever, but they're like, you need to face it. Like, I almost feel like these uses are like actual instructions for you. There'll be pictures in the description box or excuse me, in the post section. But that's a Freudian slip. I feel like they want me to put that in the description box somehow, like maybe to there's something really deep. I feel like reading through you took us down a rabbit hole of awesomeness, and thank you. And then abundance. I feel like once you like let go of these people and like do it with calm, like you may be a little scared, but don't let them see your fear, right? Like don't let them fucking see your fear. And you know, ghosting somebody doesn't make you a pussy. And I don't know who that was for, but that doesn't make you, literally doesn't make you weak or strong. It's just saying like, I don't have any more tolerance for you or your bullshit. You think that you fucking snowed me, or you think like, I had that recently where I just was like, does this person really think I don't know what they're really trying to do? I'm a telepathic medium. 14444. Oh shit. 4444. Maybe you're seeing fours a lot too. And look at 14444. 14. Yeah, this is like, I feel like this is your last thing before you get really stable. You are stepping into your power reading 3. You are about to fucking step up and step out. Like you're about to be like, you know what? I don't need this shit. Because you're realizing like, we're your family. We're your tribe. And you don't have to live next to people. There are people on this tribe that I consider my sisters that like are my closest friends. And we email or text each other. We call each other. I've never even met them in person. You don't have to like, you know what I mean? It's like your people are your people no matter where the fuck they are in the world. And we are your people. If you're new here, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. But remember, you are not alone. We are your people. We are your people. You don't need that shit. Don't let people fucking bully you. Don't let people tell you who you think you are. Sorry, they're having me take these screenshots. They're having me do something with this. You know, like that's for real, okay? And then the next one is strength. And then after that is emotional balance. But I feel like there's something with that. With strength and emotional balance. That's how you're going to get through this. That's why they were bringing the 4s up. There are no fucking accidents. 4s are about stability. Can you have a 3-legged table? Yeah, I'm sure you can. I've seen them. They're cool. But a 4-legged table is really strong. You got legs under each corner. You're strong. But if you got a piece of wood in between that's plywood, that's going to bend. You know, it's like, well, you know what? Sometimes you want to be there and help people and be the bendy wood. And sometimes you need to have a strong foundation of hardy wood. That's what you guys need. That's what I'm hearing from spirit. That's what you're looking for, is that strong, hardy foundation. So the divination is follow these instructions to create a powerful green. Oh, we went through that already. So there it is. Those are your messages. Oh no, the deities are Hecate, Cronus, Mars. The celestial planet is Mars, and the astrological sign is Scorpio. So if you may be dealing with a Scorpio, or you may be a Scorpio, if not, they're saying then call on the Scorpio energy. Okay, my moon's in Scorpio, and let me tell you something. Sometimes I'm like, I should say, there have been times where I was like, why would I choose to have my moon in Scorpio? Right? Like, because I'm such a loving being. Like, I would give the shirt off my back to anybody, you know. But I remember my dad used to say, you love everybody. You got to be careful. You know, you care too much about other people. What about you? What about you? And I needed to learn that from my father, because I realized that's where the Scorpio is, that little fucking stinger. Because when I know in my heart that somebody is like treating me wrong, and especially if they think they're getting one up on me, that's when I'm like, you know what? Fuck you, dude. I'm not even going to respond to you. I'm not going to give you a response. You don't even know why you don't even know that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they don't know, then it's not for you to let them figure it out. Let them heal that. That's their own shit. You're not there to fucking heal everything for everybody. And, you know, some people, I know, like, this has happened with our tribe. Like, you know, it's like the same thing with each other. You know, people get cocky. They're like, look at me. I'm a medium. I've gone through those stages. We've all gone through it. But you know what? Sometimes you need quiet. I'll tell you, quiet and silence are fucking golden, man. They're fucking golden. One of my favorite comedy things, if Spirit calls me to put it here, from my other channel, Lula's Labyrinth, was from Taylor Tomlinson. And she's like, you know, my friends say that they think a prenup is completely unromantic, and why would you do that? Like, you know, just throw caution to the wind. She goes, are you kidding me? She goes, I think fucking prenups are the most romantic thing in the world. She's like, a prenup says, I'm going to marry you, even though I don't trust you at all. Right? Like, that's saying, like, I love you, but you know what? I don't know. Maybe I don't trust you. Maybe I don't. And I feel like a lot of my friendships and relationships, and, you know, no matter what they are, like, I always go into anything with trust first. My whole thing was, I trust somebody until you give me a reason not to. But I was raised that you don't trust anybody until they give you a reason to trust them. And I thought, no, I think it's the opposite, because you want somebody to show you their true colors. And my mama used to say, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. When someone tells you who they are, believe them. That doesn't mean you still can't love them. That doesn't mean, you know, but just know that you're going into it with your eyes wide open. If you go into it hoping that they're going to change, hoping you're going to change them, you know what I mean? Like, then that's on you from the beginning. And one of my friendships, I like had to stop it, because I was just like, I feel like I've tried in every fucking angle. I've just like tried and I've tried and I've tried. I'm like, you don't fucking get it. And I feel like no matter what I say, you're not going to get it. At least not now, not in this, whatever. So like, I need to just like, bye-bye. You know, if they come back around, they come back around. But if they don't, they don't. People are going to live in their own little fucking bubble. And you know what I mean? Like, it has nothing to do with you. So do we have any more messages for reading 3? I think that's it. Nope, that's it. All right, reading 3. Thank you so much. Like I said, all of my information is in the description box. I love you so much. Until next time, take good care of yourselves and each other. I love you. Blessed be. Oh, and I hope to see you at the Sacred Sunday, this Sunday, June 8th at noon Pacific Standard Time live. And if not, look out for that reading after it's been recorded, because I have a feeling there'll be some deeper messages in there for you. And thank you again for aligning us with the path of Sacred Sunday. I love you. Blessed be. Bye. Welcome, reading 4. I had to just get started because so much was coming through, and it was really cool and it was really powerful. I saw an image of the Dipper, so I don't know if it was the Big Dipper or the Little Dipper, but I saw like an image of the Dipper in space, and then I started hearing like space, blah, 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 like the beginning of Star Trek, and then the like, you know, and I just think it's so cute. And this is when I love like our connection with spirit the most, because the title of your reading is Miracles ... Heaven's Light. And recently someone had asked me what I believed heaven was, or I don't remember exactly, but I just remember I was like, whoa. I said, that's a really good question. It's a question for the ages. And I said, and it's definitely not a question I'm going to be able to answer for you right here, right now in the laundromat. And you know what I mean? I was like, well, where do you want me to start? You know what I mean? I was just like, goodness gracious. Right. So I feel like it's time for you to look at the world from your eyes, the way that you see the world, the way that you see the universe. Interesting, I didn't do this with any of the other ones, with the other readings so far today. We haven't even shown your card, but I'm feeling this pull to grab another card. So I'm gonna, and it could even be that like maybe that, okay, so they want you to see this one first. So let's look at your card. So we have watermelon fertility. Oh, I love this card. Look at I love this image here. It's like a little, do you see the little angel baby like in the bottle? There's so much going on in this card right now. Also, it's number 29, which is the number 11. Can I just tell you that we have spoke about the number 11 in literally every reading today? So obviously, now we know that the word is fertility, but I feel like I want to have the card where you guys can see the little angel baby in the bottle, because I feel like it almost feels like a treasure hunt. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we're meant to, okay, it is this one I was going to say. I feel like it's that one right there. Okay, the next one is Tranquility, Violet, number 43. And I don't know if we're going to pull another one. I don't know, but I'm going to... Do we have any more for reading 4 right now? I feel like they're like, trust me, this is plenty. Okay, all right. Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, so we have fertility and tranquility. I was like, do you want me to do this in a way that they can see the word better? So everybody, can you see tranquility? Okay. So we've got fertility and tranquility. 29 and 43. And, you know, those could be angel numbers too. When I looked down, I saw 54. I feel like 54 is an age. So that could be someone's age, or it could be 45 and mirrored reverse. Same with 29. I know this sounds crazy because I can't even imagine a 92-year-old watching my readings right now. You'd think so, right? But like when I worked at Psychic Sister, my very, 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 very first reading, my very first client was an 81-year-old retired male farmer who was religious, who was drawn to, it was literally called Psychic Sister. It had, it's still around. There's one in Portland, Oregon, and there's one in Olympia. I think she still has the one in Olympia. I don't know. I haven't been down there, checked on the websites for a long time, but either way, it's just, it's not something you would, even he said himself, it wasn't like a place he would go, but he was really drawn to it. And then I said, well, then why did you choose me? There were so many readers on the board. Like, what made you choose me? And he said, you know, because I'm Tallulah Kelly. And he said, Kelly is my mother's maiden name, and I have a really strong connection to her side of the family. And I was like, oh, I'm like, that's probably where your gifts come from. You know what I mean? So he wasn't raised to be that person, yet here he was, you know, at, you know, 80 plus years old. And he's like, I feel like I need to know who I am before I die, you know? And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, that's pretty intense. And I was like, Spirit, where do I start with this guy? And they're like, ask him what he wanted to be when he was 8 years old. And little did I know that that would end up being a segue for every person I ever read. Oh my gosh, there's a tiny little baby ant. Do you see that? Tiny, tiny. I just discovered these baby ants outside in my strawberry plant. And I had to move it. And I was like, you guys, you got to go. You got to go. And I told them they had to go. And all of a sudden they started coming in my house. And I was like, no, you don't need to come in here. And I'm sad for them because like my house is wired for critters. Like there's so much in the carpets. I find dead ants in the carpet all the time. And I feel bad because there's like between garlic, I put garlic, granules, and like I put like peppermint spray, you know what I mean? Like all the things that they hate, like I put them there to keep them out. So, and interesting, the other day we had an ant on one of our readings that was like this big. I'm not exaggerating. So I feel like there's something, so ant is a spirit animal to work with, definitely. The fly came into reading 1 and reading 2. If you're drawn to any other readings, always check them out if you feel drawn to them, unless they're specific. Sometimes I'll say to you guys, like, these are very specific. Like if you're here, then this is your reading, but if it doesn't feel right, then check one of the other ones out, but don't keep watching, you know what I mean? Because you can feed yourself and inadvertently, accidentally force feed yourself something that is not gonna be good for your story, right? It's somebody else's medicine. And if you're taking somebody else's medicine to try and solve the problems of your story, it's not going to work. It's like an antidote, right? Like, okay, so I'm not going to go into that whole thing. But the fact that the ant came in, I have to say something. Also because I don't even know how they got on here, because there's like all around this table, there's like garlic and stuff. So when they come on here, I really know like it's meant to be, but also it's a tiny ant. So, ants have ant spirit medicine, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to work with that right now. But also, because I know the medicine of the ant, one of the things that is really coming to me right now is, ants they work together. Yeah, they go off on, they send out, like, that ant was like probably a hunter coming to see, like, is there food here? Is there water here? Is this a place that we'd want to move our, it's a very important job. But for the most part, they work together as a collective. And the fact that you chose 4 and you're looking at miracles and heaven's light and all that kind of stuff, this is, I feel like Spirit is saying the fertility is, you know, we in order for something to bear fruit, it has to start from seed. And I feel like the energy I'm getting from this reading is that you're flush. You've got everything you need, right? You're like, you've got fruit. Look at how beautiful and gorgeous this is. I actually just saw some watermelons at the co-op and I was like, oh, I can't wait for, I need to get me some watermelons. They were just way too big though. I was like, that's too big for me. It was like this, like this kind of size. And I'm like, I'm one person. I don't have enough space. I would have to eat watermelon for like 3 or 4 days. It would go bad before I eat it all. I have like I live in a tiny home and I have like one of those tiny, like little cube refrigerators. I'm like, I don't even have room for it. But I don't know why they have me share that with you. But anyway, so you have to plant the seeds to get that robust, juicy melon, right? But if you put the right light on it, you water it correctly, you do everything, you're going to get the most gorgeous, abundant fruit. Interesting that they have tranquility. I almost feel like they want to switch spots. Ooh, and look at the way that the labradorite fell. Like it doesn't want the card. See how like that little gap there? Like it doesn't want it to go any further. But they want you to go further. Spirit wants you to go further. Don't get too comfortable. Oh, that's what I heard. Because I was like, I don't understand. They're like, don't get too comfortable. Some of you're getting too comfortable with where you are. And they're like, in order for you to grow and do the things that you need to do, you need to keep going. You can't, like, I'm hearing like, don't give up now. Okay, hold on. We're going to the books. Well, it's one book. We're going to the cards in the book. My eyes went to fertility first, so I'm going to go to that one first. So the quote is from a Chinese proverb under watermelon, and it says, life begins the day you start a garden. Yes, I love it. Right? And you need to have tranquility. If you want to have like abundant fruit and, you want a beautiful life, like you need to have as much love as possible. It's kind of funny because I wasn't sure why these rings wanted to come in on this, but coral represents love and so does turquoise. So it could be for some of you, like you're meant to work with coral and turquoise as well. And if you have it, wear it. If it's not wearable, carry it with you. Because I'm hearing it's like the heart chakra. Also, it wasn't in there, but my eyes just went to this honey calcite. So you might want to work with honey calcite as well. I kind of feel like she wants to go this way to have a little sparkle on her. Yeah. The magical correspondences to the watermelon and fertility are sex magic, strength, aphrodisiac, blood substitute, and peace. What the fuck? What's a blood substitute? Can somebody explain this to me, please, in the description box? Because so the deities are Set and Yamaya. Celestial planet is Mars, and the astrological sign is Leo. So, and it has a fertility spell. Create and grow anything in your life, including a baby, with this fertility candle. Scoop the flesh out of a watermelon and make juice or something edible from it. Share and consume the flesh. Don't waste any of it. Write whatever it is you want to create and grow on brown paper and place inside the melon. Put a green candle on top of the melon and light it. Let it burn down completely and then bury it under a healthy tree. So I will put all this, okay, they're like not wanting me to focus on that. So I will put things in the post from the book. I have to say this, you guys, though. I'm a genie in a bottle. You gotta rub me the right way. So for the sex part, I feel like for some of you, whether you're trying to have a baby or not, maybe you're just trying to bring your sex life back. I'm hearing you got to pull the angel out of the bottle. That's not just a baby in there. That's not just a little baby in the angel bottle. See how like it's got like stuff shoved in there like that they can't get out. I feel like Spirit's like you need to let it breathe. And for some of you, your yoni, punani, whatever you want to call it, your vagina, your beautiful, sweet honey. Maybe that's why this wanted to come in, nectar, whatever, right? Like, I'm hearing to bring some more of that back, wear dresses. And some would say naughty, but is it naughty? Don't wear underwear. I mean, don't wear underwear. There are some people, I don't wear underwear. I don't think it's weird to you talk about underwear. Some people, I had a friend of mine, she's like, I'm a juicy girl. I need to wear underwear. And she's like, I'm totally fine with that, right? We're all different. I am like, I've just always been that kind of person that like, I don't enjoy wearing underwear. It feels weird to me. It feels very uncomfortable to me. So, you know, you do what you need to do for you, but I'm hearing for those of you in the divine feminine, and you don't have to be a woman, same thing, like free ball it, you know what I mean? Like maybe it's time for you to just like, don't wear a bra. Like maybe there's just, you need to get more connected to your sexuality. And by doing that, it's, because it's on the opposite side of that. Some people find their sexuality through clothes, through underwear, through, I had a friend, she loved corsets. She's like, I love my tits. It's my favorite part about me. And she used to say this is exactly how she said it. She's like, I love wearing corsets. I love wearing, and I remember when I was like going through a bunch of my stuff, I was like, I had a pile just for her of corsets. That I was like, I'm not going to wear these again. I'm like, she'll do something with them. She loves corsets. You know what I mean? So everybody's different, but this is coming through really strong. I feel like for some of you, like, to bring that sexuality back, like, get a nice juicy watermelon and share it with somebody. It's juicy fruit can be very sensual. So if you want to bring some va 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 boom, some heaven and some miracles back into the bedroom, do it through food, do it through clothing, do it through like what makes you feel good, what makes you feel sensual. Sometimes when you're watching a movie and someone's trying to attract somebody and they're doing something that they think the other person likes, but they're not very good at it, and it just makes such a cringe moment because you're just like, oh gosh, just stop, like that's not you, like stop dancing like that, stop wearing those clothes, stop eating those cherries like that, you look like you've never even eaten a cherry in your life, and then later you find out they're like, I fucking hate cherries, but I knew you like cherry. So it's about finding the common ground with somebody. Also, I'm hearing it's time for partnership for some of you. Also, the 43 is the number 7, but I saw about, in some of the other readings we spoke about, I think it was in reading 1, the number 3 and like relationships and stuff. So if you're drawn to reading 1, I highly recommend you check it out. But I kind of feel like this is like, once you get the healthy foundation, once that tranquility, you've got all that there, then the 3 of you will be able to come together. Also, throuple has been coming up a lot lately, and it's not impossible. Love is love. And if you and 2 other people, you equally love each other and you feel like you can do it, it is nobody's fucking business how you do it. If you are in a couple and you have somebody who comes in and is like a sex therapist, it's nobody's fucking business, right? Sex is beautiful. What's that, George Michael? Sex is something that we should do. Sex is something for me and you. You know that song? Sex is wonderful. Wait, not everybody does it, but everybody should, right? Masturbation, it's beautiful. It's like there's this scene in this movie called Say Anything. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And interesting, because when we started this, we were talking about the Dipper and the sky and the heavens. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to watch an old movie with John Cusack and Daphne Zuniga, and they are it's called The Sure Thing. And there's this really great scene where the professor, it's from the 80s, and the professor is talking about that, and some people are open about it, and some people, you can tell, are a little uncomfortable because she's talking about sex. And she's like, why is it so hard for people to talk about sex? And she's like, then she starts to get into it, and she starts to, and some people are like, oh, and they're laughing. She's like, you laugh, but she's like, I'm telling you, she's like, the core of all happiness is the release of that energy, right? Like orgasm gives us such a beautiful energy. It's like an electrifying, the endorphins, working out is great, but there's something about when you get to that climax of an orgasm where your whole body, your whole energy, everything explodes. It's why a lot of people, after they have sex, they are really creative, or they want to eat food, or they want to, it's like whatever it does for you, you want to replenish, you want to create, it inspires. But one of the last things she says is she's like, do this, do that. She goes, make love in a hammock. And I love the way she says it, and everybody starts laughing. She's like, blah, 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 blah. She's like, take chances, do this, do that. You know, she's like, because they're in college, right? And she's like, go and have sex, like go and experience life. How can you write about it? I think that's what it was. I think it was a writing class. And she's like, how can you write about something if you don't experience it? So, you know, you could be with your high school sweetheart, but if you guys have only ever had sex with each other and you've never really like played or, you know, role played or did different things, like, you know, you may just be having the same sex, but then all of a sudden you try a different position or you tried something different, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, the whole world just like opened up to you, you know. So I'm hearing explore that, the juiciness of it, you know. Also, I don't know if this is true, but somebody told me once, a farmer told me, an organic farmer said, if you are eating a watermelon that's seedless and it says it's organic, he's like, it's bullshit. He's like, you need the, he's like, there are certain foods that like the seeds need to be in there. It's like part of it. So I don't know if it's true. So, but get yourself a healthy watermelon. Honestly, it'll make all the difference in the world. There's this one brand, they almost look black, the watermelons, the organic, holy shit, they're so fucking good. There's a name of them. My co-op has them. Like I said, I saw them the other day and I'm like, last year, I got one, and Alder and I went to the mountains, and it was so big, and we ended up being close to this single mother with children. And I was so grateful. At first I was kind of upset because I was like, man, you know, I was like, I thought summer solstice, it was like a weekday, I think. And I was like, I don't remember. It was just a day that I didn't think there'd be a lot of people there. And there really weren't. But of course, the one place we wanted to go, there was people. But we ended up like talking to them, getting to know them. Their daughter was like super witchy. She was so cute. I took pictures with her. I just adore her. And we ended up sharing this watermelon with them and having this really great moment. And there were moments where like the kids were just eating the watermelon and the mom was by herself, and like she and I'm like, this thing is juicy, and like you could tell we both wanted to say stuff, but we didn't want to seem weird because we just met each other. And then finally, like, we were alone, I'm like, or later after we had gotten to know each other, I said, I almost said something. She's like, me too. She's like, but I didn't want you to think we were like, I was like some creepy pervo with my kids. And I'm like, no, I'm like, that's the thing though, like, right? Like, it's like people have gotten to the point where they're afraid to talk about anything because they're like, oh, what are people going to think, or what are they going to say? And it's like, we've just gotten so repressed in so many areas of our lives. And I just get this vibe from spirit that it's time to like walk away from that repressed energy. I feel like you need the energy from it, you know? So the oracle meaning says, the nurture of elements around you is highlighted, and watermelon energy shows that you will reap what you have sown. The wisdom of nature is at the forefront, and answers, discoveries, and inspirations will be found there for you. Plan well, stick with things, and look after those around you. Challenges may be a failure to connect with. That's interesting. Challenges may be a failure to connect with others and inauthenticity. That's interesting. The cultivation, watermelon seeds require a warm soil of at least 21 degrees Celsius to germinate and usually do not do well in colder climates. Plant from mid-spring to midsummer in temperate areas and from early spring through to midsummer in tropical places. The soil needs to be rich and the position should be full sun with plenty of space. Harvest when the resting spot on the bottom of the melon turns from white to a deep yellow. Yeah, 2 things to pick the best watermelon I learned. You don't want a perfect one, because the imperfect ones, the ones that have like that big yellow spot, those are full of sweet sugar, baby. If you like a sweet sugar melon like I do, like a sweet watermelon, those are the best. The other thing is, if you want a watermelon that isn't mealy, mushy, you know what I'm saying? Like some people don't care. They're like, watermelon's watermelon. I personally, texture is everything to me. If you want a good crisp melon, pick it up, the one that you're looking at, pick it up and knock on it. I don't know if my bell will do it, but if you knock on it, I'm trying to see if I can listen to that. I'm knocking on my glass water bottle, and it should have like a hollow, because it doesn't mean that it's not sweet. It means that it's firm, that it's hollow. You know, when you cut into a watermelon and it's kind of crisp, that's why it's hollow. If it's mealy, it's not going to be it's going to be, or I should say, if it's like kind of like the opposite of that, it's going to be the opposite of that. Does that make sense? That's how I pick them. And I also bring my pendulum when I'm choosing fruit, especially something like that. Cause you know, kickoff to summer has happened in America. Memorial Day, 4th of July to me is when summer really kicks off. But you know, Memorial Day is kind of when it starts here, in the Northern Hemisphere anyway. So what did you say, Spirit? Exactly. It's like, it's a time of like spring is ending, you know, right? We're going into summer, or, you know, because we have Southern Hemisphere family here too. But it's that energy of being calm. And when you're planting things, make sure that you're calm, because that brings such good energy to your plants. Like, talk to them when you're planting seeds. And this is with anything, whether it's an actual fruit or it's your dreams. When you're planting seeds, you speak to them with love, with care, with initiative, with a knowing that like everything's going to be okay. Everything is okay. Okay. So also in the other cards, in the other readings, we spoke about how the cultivation can actually be a metaphor for your life. So you may want to dig deeper into that as well. I'll put screenshots in the post section, so you can read that further, because maybe this has something to do with you. Maybe it's about where you live or how you handle it. It could be sexually. You know, maybe the soil to have a good sexual encounter, you know, maybe it needs to be full sun. Maybe you make love better in the daytime. Some people, you know, that's why they call it afternoon delight, right? Like, there's nothing more fun than a little nookie in the afternoon, when your energy, if you're taking a little nap. One of my dream things was, I had this guy and we used to love to smoke weed together, and we would like wake and bake, and like we'd maybe go out for breakfast, go run errands, whatever, and then we'd come back and we'd smoke a little more weed and we'd take a nap together. But then usually how we would wake up would be from one of us, and he was like that summer boyfriend, you know what I mean, where you're just like, right, in those summer months. And we'd wake up with one of us like caressing the other one, and we would just have like this amazing sex. Because sometimes at night, you know, you're tired and you just don't have, or you're just a little edgier, you know, or maybe you take a nap and then you have the sex later. I mean, whatever works for you. But I love that kind of sex when your partner just wakes you up and you're like, yeah, let's do it. You know what I mean? So maybe no rules, you know, maybe this is time. Also, it's the astrological sign of Leo, which is a fire sign. So you could be a fire sign or there, but also Leo energy, Leo season's coming up, and that's summertime for the Northern Hemisphere. So, and that's usually, you know, like 3rd week in July till the 3rd week in August. So it could be something about that too. Maybe take a vacation with somebody that you love and go to a really magical place, you know, during that time. Use that fiery energy of Leo. Because the baby's in the bottle, man. The baby's in the bottle. I feel like the baby wants to come out. But they're bringing me back to the challenges, maybe a failure to connect with others and inauthenticity. So, you know, make sure you're doing everything from an authentic place, because that's why the challenges are happening, why the failures are happening, because it's like timing is everything. It really is. And if you try to plan too much, you know, and it's like that Rolling Stones song, you know, but if you try sometimes, you just might find you get what you need, right? You might not get what you want, but you get what you need. So also I'm hearing a bell, so mind your ears. I feel like we're clearing some air for somebody. I'm taking a screenshot. So cute. Also, we spoke about this in the other readings, Sacred Sunday, live every Sunday at noon, at least until Spirit tells me one more. One more, this Sunday will be the 5th episode. We go live every Sunday on this channel at Pacific Standard Time, Sacred Sunday at noon, okay? So that's 12 p.m. And I'm going to see if they want me to go over to 43. Let's see if they want me to go to the Tranquility card. Yeah, okay. So number 43, Violet. And this is a quote from May Sarton. Everything that slows... Oh my gosh, did I not just say... What did I just say about the... Oh my gosh, I have to show you. Now there's a big ant. So clearly they're talking to you. And I'm going to put them back outside. Hey, buddy, you don't want to be in here. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. I got you. I just like put them back outside. So ant clearly wants to speak with you. So work with the ant spirit medicine, especially interesting, right? When I talked about tranquility, that must mean something to somebody. By the way, look at the author of this deck. Isn't she like the cutest? Look at their energy. Sherilyn Darcy is a botanical history author, florist, organic gardener, environmental artist, and the author and illustrator of almost 20 botanical titles that share with readers her passion for plants and their relationship with us. She lives on the central coast of New South Wales, Australia, and has created and nurtures her own extensive flower, vegetable, native plant, and indoor gardens, which have been featured in national publications. They are her creative sanctuary. She also hosts a regular gardening radio show and is the administrator of a local community garden and a sought-after plant expert, often featured on national television and international radio. SherilynDarcy.com. Okay, so I've never shown this before, so apparently maybe some of you want to work with her. We do have Southern Hemisphere family. Maybe she's somewhere. Maybe she's in your neighborhood and you can work with her one-on-one. How cool would that be? Oh my gosh, I know more than some, but less than most. You know what I mean? Kind of, it's that kind of thing. Like I know a lot more than I think I know, but sometimes I know that like I feel like this summer spirit is really calling for us to work more with like the herbs and fruits and vegetables, and not just about like how they feed and nourish our mind, or I mean our bodies, but our minds and our souls as well. So thank you, Sherilyn. We really appreciate you being here today. So, okay, here we go. So everything that slows us down and forces patience, everything that sets us back into the soul circle, soul, but it's slow, interesting. Slow circles of nature is a help. Gardening is an instrument of grace. I feel like this is, if you're here for reading 4, this feels like my reading too. I don't know how to explain it, but sometimes I just can feel it. I am telling you guys right now, there is something really powerful about this connection for us this year in particular, no matter where you live, of building a garden of some kind. Recently my landlord made a comment. He's like, I thought you were going to build it. And I've got like all these pots, all these beautiful like ceramic pots. They're all empty. So many of my things have died. The only one who survived is Sugar, my strawberry plant. She's the only one. Even those of you who've known me for a long time, Jazzy finally died. My jasmine plant, she died when Bubba died. Like it was wild. So I feel like this is like a mission, should we choose to accept it, is to build our own garden. And maybe they want us to grow watermelon. Maybe they want us to grow violets, depending on where you live and all that. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's just for us to eat them or work with them, whatever it is. But I'm definitely like getting that vibe from spirit. And it says, the oracle meaning is, although you may have felt tested recently, a period of advancement and breaking free is now open. Adaptation may be necessary. However, a greater depth of meaning, loyalty, and truth is inspired by the appearance of violets. Secrets are safe, and those you hold close are also afforded this protection. The truth will prevail, and that which is no longer wanted will be weakened. Be wary of intolerance, insensitivity to the feelings of others, and blind faith. Wow. So the uses of this are purification, happiness, truth, death, and advancement. These are like the key words, and like, however this applies to your story. It does have, they all have like little spells. This is the tranquility spell. And again, I'll put it in the section, the post section. Craft a sweet tranquility calming oil to inspire peace. Mix together 6 violets, a half cup of sweet almond oil, 1 teaspoon of rose oil, and 4 drops of lavender essential oil, and decant into tiny vials or roller bottles. Place in an area in nature that inspires calm for you. Use a few dabs whenever tranquility and a moment to breathe are needed. Also, you guys, I just heard from Spirit, rose oil is really expensive, real good. And, because obviously Spirit wants you to do these all from natural, organic, heirloom. Heirloom just means that it's been in the same family. They don't use pesticides, or they don't use, you know what I mean? So, it's coming from the same original like seed. Like you may be, when you see heirloom tomatoes, that means that like from inception. Like they've had many, 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 many. There's like a whole thing behind heirloom. Maybe you're meant to do this. But what I got, by the way, was, so for the rose oil, I literally saw somebody putting 6 violets, like the flowers, the sweet almond oil. I saw roses themselves. Just make sure you know where the roses are coming from. Don't just get them from like a gas station. You know what I mean? Like you don't know how they were raised or what pesticides. The cleaner, the better. You know, you can always put a spell over it. You know, you can, you know, I always say you can will anything into being what you want it to be. But, you know, anytime you manipulate something, you have to remember that that's part of karma. So however that works for you. But anyway, I literally saw red roses. So I don't know who this is for, but I saw roses in, go on, buddy. Go on. That ant is back. I'm trying to get him to go outside. Come on. Come on. Come on. Hold on. Because I feel like this is, you know, this ant could be us. Come on, baby. I'm just trying to help you. Come on. Come on. No, it's coming back in. It's like it wants to talk to you. Do you want to come in? Do you want to come into the reading? Anyway, I saw red roses. So whatever roses you want to use, that's up to you. It doesn't have a specific color. But I saw red rose petals in the bottle. So I saw the 6 violets. So I'm assuming they mean like 6 of the flowers, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know what I mean? So you take them, not the stems, just the flowers, and then the rose petals. And I saw them in a glass bottle. So you can do a roller bottle if you want to, like it said, or you can just put it in a jar. And if you want to make more, you would just like, you know, you just put more oil in it, more, you know what I'm saying? And then says, use a few dabs whenever tranquility and a moment to breathe are needed. Oh my God, what are you trying to kill yourself? This poor guy. I'm trying to help you, buddy. Come on, you don't want to be in there. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. There we go. I got him outside. He just went into a whole pile of cinnamon. I'm like, that's like a human being being thrown into a vat of acid. I was like, no. I mean, maybe he wanted to die. I don't know. But I just got the vibe that he was like, help me, help me. And maybe this is a message for you. Are you trying to overhelp somebody? I had to take a screenshot. I didn't have to, but I just wanted to. Anyway, I'm reading the cultivation because I think they're really powerful in these right now. So the cultivation is, in hot climates, plant violets in autumn, cold areas in autumn and early spring, and in temperate environments from midsummer until mid-autumn. Violets prefer violets prefer semi-shade and some sun through the day in cooler places. A well-draining, thorough, moist and rich soil, and they do make a good indoor plant. They will flower in about 16 weeks, and base life is around 7 to 8 days. Okay, also, I don't know why, but I feel like somebody asked if you can use an African violet. I heard no, African violets are awesome to have, but I'm hearing this is like a straight up violet, like an old school violet. You can use an African violet for it if you want to, but maybe research the medicine. Maybe the African violet has a different spirit medicine with it than the violet does, and so maybe that's for you to decide on your own. I don't know why, because that came up when I was growing up. My mom loved African violets. Like that was like her, she had those around a lot. So I feel like somebody wanted that. Also, the deities connected to the violet are, is that Io, Zeus, Priapus, Attis, Aphrodite, and Venus. The celestial body is Venus, and the astrological sign is Pisces. Ooh, look at that, just like came forward. So we've got Pisces and we've got Leo. So we've got water and we've got fire. So those energies might mean something to you as well. This could be you, and this could be someone that you're dealing with. Let me see. Do we want to pull any more cards? I'm feeling like, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like somebody's coming, and I feel like I need to get going. So I don't know what that means. Okay, so they had me pull number 1, clarity. So it's time for new beginnings with a whole new look on life. And I believe that's the Virgo symbol, which is an earth energy. So we've got earth, water, and fire here. And also look at the eye. So you may want to bring some carrots in. You may want to grow some carrots, eat some carrots. I've actually been eating a lot of carrots lately, and I love them raw. I prefer them raw, but they're actually better for you cooked. I saw recently. So I was like, I just personally don't like them cooked, but some people really love. My mom loved cooked carrots. She would put brown sugar and a bunch of carrots, and she would eat them like candy. So they do have coconut sugar. Maybe that's gonna be my new thing. I'm gonna get some carrots this week. I think when I go shopping this week, I'm gonna get some carrots and a watermelon. That sounds really good. Anyway, so I feel like the fertility, the tranquility, like I feel like all of that is going to come together with the clarity. Sometimes Spirit has me do this where I don't look at them. I just keep shuffling them until Spirit tells me to stop. And then there's a story, the way it's meant to go. Okay, so this is how they want it to go. So we've got fertility, clarity, and then tranquility. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes they have me put them in a certain order to give you more of the clarity, because this is for you. This is your reading. This isn't about me. And let me see. Do you want me to read the clarity card? Okay, no. I'm just gonna. So, your other mission, should you choose to accept it, is to go into the posts. So it's on this channel. If you're new to YouTube, on the top there's tabs, and it says home, videos, blah blah blah. So in the post tab, I'm going to take pictures of all the cards that we use today for these readings, and there'll be one post per card, because I'll put a picture of the book as well, and that's for a deeper meaning and for you to go through and do on your own. Is that good, Spirit? Yeah. Do we have any more messages for reading 4 before we move forward? Nope, that's it. All right, you guys, those are all your messages. I hope they helped you in any way. I'm going to try one more time reading 4. Do we have any more messages? For some reason, I was feeling something. Maybe it's that card. Something feels undone or unfinished. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe you didn't get your full answer. So they're like, well, go check it out. Go check out the cards. And maybe you'll get your answers in one of the other readings, a continued answer, or it might just be from looking at the posts from the other, from the book meaning. Okay. All right, you guys, until next time, all of my information is in the description box. If you would like to work with me one-on-one or receive a recorded reading, or if you would like to contribute anything to the work I do on this channel, prayers are free. It's good karma for you and me. But if you'd like to provide more than that, you can do so there. And also, if you have this has been coming up lately because I just use Venmo. I can't use PayPal right now. For some reason, Spirit doesn't want me to use it. But if there's another form of universal where Cash App or something like that, where you would like to, and you don't have Venmo where you live, let me know. Or if you would like to send me anything else that you think I would like, you can do it through my Amazon account. It's got my address and all of my information there. So the Amazon wish list is mostly cards, but if there's anything else that you feel like, you can, I didn't know this, but I just opened it up recently. There's a place where you can actually go into my wish list, and then you can say, I want to send them something else, and you can do that too. Okay. So, because, you're just as witchy as I am. So maybe there's something that you are drawn to that you think that I would need. Whether, I don't know. Amazon's a big place. There's a lot of things. So I'm not even going to give you examples, but it could be a book or anything like that. Anyway, that's all the information I have for you today. I love you so much, and I hope to see you on Sundays at noon live Pacific Standard Time on Sacred Sunday. And if not, then look out for the readings afterwards. And there's in the playlist, I started a playlist for Sacred Sunday, so you can go back and look at the other episodes. All right, I'll see you next time. Blessed be. I hope. Love you. Bye. Oh, I didn't say take care of yourselves and each other, did I? Make sure you do, and love yourself and each other. All right, bye.